Hi everybody, welcome to Infinite Horizon. Um, so before we get started, I probably have some stuff to say, so let me just see what comes out of my mouth today. Okay, so um, first and foremost, I actually I'm gonna announce a thing that was decided literally last night, which is that So Remy has been a guest with us for the last few episodes, and I offered Remy the opportunity to just sort of like stay with us through the end of the season, even after CT's arc. And so Remy will be here for the rest of the season.
Yay,
so,
hello.
Yeah.
so
I'm
yeah,
so excited.
yeah.
Can I tell you that I yelled fully into my microphone when Lucas opened register?
Very good
excited.
news.
It's true. I said, hey, so I was talking to Remy, and I just hear Caitlin gasp, and then
Like as if that's like a thing that should be surprising in any way, as
Yeah.
if we're not in a
Rem-
show
oh my
together
god,
right
Remy.
now. I was like, oh, Remy? Like, it's always my reaction. It's very exciting. He hadn't even told me the news yet. I was like, Remy?
Yeah. Remy, I'm glad that we're gonna be able to have you for the rest of the season. So
Yeah, I'm super glad too.
Yeah.
I love Infinite Horizon. Hot damn.
We probably have some other announcements. So let me look through this. Heart of Handprints, thank you so much for the subscribe. 14 months. Wow, 14 whole months. Congrats. Okay, so we are still working on rolling out a lot of the like programming from the charity stuff. The Mass Effect streams have started. If you didn't catch
Yeah,
that
they
on
have.
Saturday, you you can watch the VOD if you really want to. But I'll be back on Saturday doing more Mass Effect. So probably with somebody else who I just remembered I need to message so about it. But yeah, so that's gonna happen. But of course, in addition to that programming, we're also working on another one that we announced recently that is coming, which is well, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and put it up on screen because I want to.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
that other piece of programming is hold on, here it comes. That's right. Two lesbians talk about Twilight with
Yeah, big
Caitlin and Olivia.
screen.
Yeah.
So this
I
graphic,
hope
of
you all
course,
like it.
yeah, brought to us by our very own
way-
Caitlin Brood.
The way I screamed at this. So perfect in
So,
every way.
Yeah, so that's gonna be happening on Thursday, June 17th at 4 p.m. Pacific. So yeah, you can come and hang out here, listen to Caitlin and Olivia talk
We
about.
will have fun.
Yes, that's a threat. That was a threat.
That's a threat.
We are going to watch as many of the films beforehand as possible, and that will probably be all of them. So
Definitely get through them all.
I believe in you. I believe in you and the collective power of your ADHD.
Yeah, I'll sit down and watch them all.
Yeah, just like all
one
right.
of my earliest recognizable hyperfixations.
Early one for me too.
So yeah, so that'll be happening very soon. This week is our 100th episode of Ramblemancy. 100. That's exactly
Triple
100.
digits.
That's exactly 100. Wow.
In the same list. Yeah, good. I'm glad we were both in the same place there. Yeah, so for that, we'll actually be starting a little earlier than we normally do. We'll actually be starting at 5 p.m. Pacific time, and so it'll be a longer stream. We'll be ending it whenever we decide it's time. So, but yeah, we'll be starting at 5 p.m. Pacific time, and we'll just be hanging out. We are abandoning all pretense of rails to bring you this 100th episode of Ramblemancy. It is the ramble to ramble all rambles, or something like
It
that.
works. I think it works.
Um,
So ready.
so yeah. That's going to be happening. We've also got some really awesome guests coming for Rambomancy for the entire rest of the month, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. So instead, I'm just going to tell you that we have them, and that's it. That's where we stop. You can all just suffer. So, I think that's pretty much everything. I think that's all we got.
Yeah.
As far as role announcements. Anybody else have other announcements that they want to bring to the table? I know Caitlin, I can see you reaching for your mic right now. What do you got?
This Sunday, at 5 p.m. Pacific, episode 1 of season 3 of Power Play. I'm so excited. We had our Q&A last Sunday. You can check it out. I think it's going to be on YouTube if it's not already.
I think it already is. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, it
It
already
was
is.
very fun. It was very cool to like get to do that like on screen when normally we do pretty much exactly that off stream. So you can check that out. And then, yeah, episode 1, season 3. It's coming soon. I'm terrified to deal with the repercussions of what we've just done. So it's going to be fun. You should check it out. And all of it's on YouTube so you can back watch stuff if you want to catch up.
Awesome. Other stuff?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So one, if you want to, I was recently interviewed for Tabletop Ramble,
That's
Tabletop Babble. That's it. That's the word. Where they just asking a bunch of questions about TTRPGs, how I got into them, my inspiration, aspirations, stuff like that. My villain origin story and all that goodness. And
Your
so if you wanna listen
weakness,
to that, you can-
your villain weakness, is that on there?
Absolutely not. I don't have any weakness. Weakness is not in my vocabulary. I'm only strong. I have a villain strength.
You heard it here first, folks. Drac is perfect in every way, and we love him.
Totally
Oh,
indestructible.
how that
I'm
backfired.
God damn it.
Surprise. That's Drax. Oh,
Punks.
that's a Drax weakness. Compliments. Recognizing his own self-worth.
So if you want to listen to that, I think that's any way you can find podcasts. Also yesterday or the day before, I can't remember, time is just time is a pie. But we Friends Who Roll Dice recently put out a player call for the Pride charity event we're going to be doing in the last 2 weeks of June. So if you want to apply and play some games with us, please do. We have some cool games lined up, some cool GMs lined up, some cool guest players lined up as well. So if you want to play with them, sign up. Also, we have the finale of Midsummer Mysteries this Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern, and a lot has happened. So much has happened. So much death that we did not plan. But it's a ton of fun. So if you want to see how that ends, please do come and watch over on Table Story on Twitch. And that's pretty much it. Yes.
I
Caitlin,
found my
did
notebook.
you- yeah. Amazing.
So happy for you.
That's another announcement from Caitlin. She found her notebook.
Yes, Caitlin found her notebook as well. So that's
Been
really
missing
good.
for the past 20 minutes, so I found it. We're fine.
I just have the same announcement that I've had every week, which is if you haven't checked out my book and you're interested, I do have the link ready this time. So I posted it in the
hell
chat
yeah.
called Alternate Summer Where No One Dies. And it's almost summer now, so it's seasonally appropriate. And it's Pride. It's a pretty gay book. So if you don't buy it right now, I mean, it's a little homophobic. I think so. So
Yeah.
check it out if you want. Also, happy Pride again.
Yes,
Yes, happy
always.
Pride.
Yeah. Anything else?
Follow me on Twitter. This was the announcement last week.
You're
Yeah.
not following Remy. What are you doing?
You can follow me on Twitter
Exactly.
too, but
Yes, follow
I
Freeman on
don't-
Twitter also.
Oh gosh, well,
Check out the ghillie suit. You need
That's
to lay your
right.
eyes on the ghillie suit.
Yeah. You
That's
won't
true,
be able
that's
to
right.
see it, but you'll be able to
True.
look at it.
That's how
so
good it is.
That's how, yeah.
I have been working on the other parts of it, but pictures soon.
hmm
I've been doing like
As far-
pictures
yeah.
of like steps. I don't do the picture and then post it. I'm like doing the pictures as I go because it's kind of hard to figure out what I'm going to post exactly. But
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
fun. It's a really
As
ridiculous
far as
project.
As far as anyone knows, Freeman's already posted all the pictures. You just can't see them because that's how good the ghillie suit is.
It's so good. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think that's everything. So, yeah, let's get into tonight's episode. And welcome back, everybody. So let me pull up the recap. Stop yelling. Why does my computer always yell at me when I go to the recap?
Stop using me like a computer. What the fuck are you doing?
Has no impulse control.
Yeah. All right. So previously on Infinite Horizon, the crew retrieved an artifact from a high prime mining station and secured it in Hayes' vault aboard the Bellerophon. With the mission underway again, their thoughts turned to how they could get control of the artifact while continuing to prevent Hayes from discovering more about the Voxora. Abriel cornered CT and told him that the presence of the artifact changed everything about the mission. Where before CT had to trust the crew, they now had to place their trust in CT to help contain the situation. The two met up with the rest of the crew, who explained that the artifact was capable of warping the crew of the Bellerophon as it had the miners of HP 157, and potentially much worse. The crew began formulating a plan to retrieve the artifact from Hayes' vault, but realized they needed more information before they could take action. While Peach and CT went to meet with Hayes, Taeyeon and Bina went to get the Kamathi engineers on board with their plan. While they were working their way up to asking the Kamath for help, they met an engineer named Kital, at which point Taeyeon abruptly excused himself. When Bina caught up with him, he explained that Kital was his mother. After assuring Bina that he would be fine, Taeyeon retired to their quarters to process. Elsewhere, Mason and Vix went in search of the captive Voxora and discovered a high-security section of the ship where they were likely being held. Without the proper planning or backup, however, the two decided that the area was too secure to attempt a breakout on their own, and returned to share their findings. Peach and CT, meanwhile, were stopped outside Hayes' office by a pair of security guards who told them that Hayes and Galt had left the ship. Reviewing the security footage in Hayes' office, the two watched as he fell under the artifact's control and stole it from the vault. Peach and CT decided that in order to pursue Hayes and the artifact, they'd need to convince the Bellerophon's captain and her crew to take the ship into the Tatters. In an effort to prevent the situation from spiraling further out of control, the crew sprang into action, and while Peach convinced the captain to help them pursue Hayes and Galt, Taeyeon, Vix, Mason, and Patch freed the captive Voxora. With all non-essential personnel evacuated and Bina at the helm, the Bellerophon set a course for dark space. And that is where we left off. So,
Pretty casual and
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
great.
pressure.
have a
Great.
couple social scenes, why don't we?
beach episode. So, so I think starting off, we are actually not going to pick up where we left off. Instead, we're going to pick up a couple months ago. CT. You've been in pursuit of the missing Voxora gatherer for some time now. Very few leads have been in any way really easy to turn up, but you were able to find a the sort of data packet that the gatherers of the Voxora leave behind to mark their passage, just in case of events such as this, in case the worst should happen and a Voxora should go missing, or their physical form should expire far from the reach of the Voxora Collective. Finding that data packet led you to a colony world, one that has been thriving, but one that has been a little too close to Voxora space that the Voxora have been watching for quite some time. Just in case any probes or vessels should find stuff that they shouldn't. As your ship touches down on the surface, the first thing you note is the odd silence. No transmissions from their flight control. No hails asking your business. Not even any scans. As the loading ramp to your shuttle or to your ship opens, you look around a deserted landing platform. There are no people working, tuning up ships and working on machinery. There are no droids moving around carrying out the labor tasks that the colonists are unable to complete themselves. The whole place is eerily silent and still. As you move out of the landing platform, you start kind of looking around, noticing curiously there don't appear to be any ships or shuttles anywhere. No vehicles of any sort that could indicate that anybody was here. And as you step out into the center of of the this corporate colony, you realize it doesn't seem like there's anybody here.
Hmm. As much as it is it feels silly, CC is still gonna follow every single little landing procedure, like going to the specific like little stations that he needs to check in and whatnot, even though there's no one there, but still like checking out those specific stations and every single little checkpoint he would need to on his way in.
Yeah. Yeah, you follow every single procedure, receiving no confirmation of any of them at any point. No acknowledgement of any kind. As you find yourself standing in the middle of what appears to be a deserted colony, you look around. You see nothing. Um, as you look around, you can definitely see the signs that people were here at some point relatively recently. You can still see the signs. You can still see footprints in the dusty dirt. You can see the tracks of treads from ground vehicles. Hell, you can even see those ground vehicles. They're still around, likely exactly where they were left. Some of them in garages, others just sort of parked next to charging stations. So, looking around, how do you proceed?
Scanning for any, like, the recent activity, it looks like it's there, but scanning for anything recent, like any heat signatures, anything that would this sounds like really silly to say, carbon decay on anything that is like that would indicate when the last time someone even passed through this
Sure.
location.
Yeah. That information is it takes you a bit to sort of synthesize all the, like, kind of collate all the data around. And as you're just sort of looking around, you start noticing, as that data sort of compiling and you're sort of waiting for scans to finish, you start noticing other things, sort of physical signs as you walk through the barren town. You notice food that was left on tables. You notice signs of projects, tools just sort of left where they were being used. As you look around, all signs visually indicate that everybody just kind of got up and left in the middle of what they were doing. But as you look closer, you don't see the signs of any kind of struggle or conflict. No signs that there might have been some sort of sickness that swept through. There's nothing to indicate that anybody even left in any kind of panic or hurry. In all honesty, looking around, it's almost like everybody just decided at the same time that they were leaving.
there any terminal or CT's the little more analog type to look for any like record of anything that
Mhm.
would point towards something else that wasn't this colony?
Sure. So as your sort of environmental scan continues in the background, you're able to find a terminal, and as you start accessing files, um, there's no indication of anything. Um, there is one sort of odd folder that you're able to find in the medical wing, where one of the colony's counselors noted that there were some cases of just bad dreams that people couldn't recall. They just recalled having them. Once or twice, kind of in that same folder, there are records of a couple of patients who even uh, mentioned having heard voices. And as you kind of look, you also find, kind of looking further through the medical files, moving out of the kind of the counseling files, you note that there are also several patients, and actually as you cross-reference them, you find that they are the same patients from the counseling logs. Patients that had reported instances of vertigo, headaches, but any kinds of scans of the environment turned up nothing. No signs of any kind of gas, any kind of like carbon monoxide poisoning or anything like that. All the usual things turned up negative. Most of these people it was chalked up to dehydration due to being unused to the environment of the planet. And as you're kind of looking through this, most of this appears inconclusive. At this point, as you kind of finish reading some of those, your scan finally finishes, and you look, and you're seeing that it looks like, based on all the data that you've collected while kind of doing a walkthrough, it seems like probably the last time anybody was here was maybe about a month or so ago, which is right around the time when y'all lost contact, when the Voxora lost contact with their gatherer.
It appears to be pertinent data, and I will store that very close.
Yeah. It's also at this moment when on kind of your display, you get a ping. And as you look at it and you bring it up, you realize that what you've found is another Voxora data packet.
Gonna head towards that and try to get it decoded as much as possible.
Sure. You start looking through it and finding a lot of just sort of general observations, the kind that gatherers tend to have to make whenever they are on mission, even if they're not mission pertinent. They just sort of many of the recorded observations of observing the organic species. And as you are kind of parsing through a lot of it, you only find one entry that is actually relevant to your search. It's a coded transmission, but you have the cipher for it, and as you sort of use it to decode, you can see that it's a set of coordinates leading to Sulan. The next location in the Gatherer's mission.
It is the only thing that CT has, and so he shall follow it towards wherever it leads next.
There is one more thing in that data packet. It's a name. Calwin Hayes. At this point, CT, there is aboard the Bellerophon, there is a clattering sound in the room where you are sort of lost in thought. And as you look up, you see Vix, who is just holding an armful of supplies that several of which have just dropped to the floor. He's like, hi, sorry,
Greetings. Do you need assistance with that?
no,
You have
Yeah.
dropped several elements.
I definitely
shall
have.
assist you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. You start kind of like taking some of the supplies and helping him like kind of put them up on the shelf. After a while, like the two of you together manage to put everything onto the shelves. After a while, and he just sort of leans back against the wall and just says, "Whew. So, what you doing?"
I was simply reviewing the mission statistics, mission objectives, and needs of any personnel.
That sounds really fun.
Oh, it is an absolute joy to review numbers constantly in my head.
Are you being sarcastic? I actually can't tell.
Yes, I am being sarcastic.
Okay. Well. Wait. Was that sarcasm? You know what? Never mind. Actually, I had a question for you. I've been meaning to ask, but just had no. I don't really know how to ask this question. I don't know, like, okay. Let me just start with. So you have powers?
Yes, that has been a very clear matter since the beginning, and I am honestly surprised you have not inquired up until this point.
Great. Well, then, so what? How? What are? How, what do you do? What can you do? That's what's your whole thing?
That is. I will contextualize it as such. On the mining asteroid, you mirrored Bina Oba's abilities and were able to amplify her effect. Yes?
Right. Yeah.
My abilities are not in the realm anywhere close to as such that you have displayed. It is much more passive and I would say not as useful in terms of combat purposes. It is difficult to describe to someone that would not be able to necessarily understand to the same capacity, but you look with your eyes every day. Yes?
As far as I know, yeah.
How much information do you believe that you ascertain from looking around?
Probably not anywhere close to as much as there is.
Exactly such. I see every amount of information that is in every environment, and it is much easier to simply just watch and observe and simply not converse as I am performing my scans of every environment that I am in.
Huh. Wow. So you're like Bina, but for data instead of emotions.
I suppose that would be an accurate, albeit a slightly fanciful depiction of my abilities.
Yeah. Wait, so can you do that with people too? I mean, is that how you knew that we also were like we are?
Yes. However, it is a little bit more difficult when it comes to organic creatures, I will say.
Hmm. Oh. No, I mean, that's yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I
You have a lot of data to intake at any given moment, and
sure.
it is simply easier to look at something else. You are all quite distracting, if I am to be very blatantly honest with how much your body temperature raises at any given moment. It would simply overload any organic's brain if you were to think in the same way that I do.
None taken. So, I wonder. Um, so I have this issue with my abilities. I mean, you mentioned um my mirroring Bina, and that's, I mean, that is kind of my whole thing. But the thing is, I haven't really been able to. I used to be kind of a completely different person, and when I was that,
That is interesting.
it's a long story. Something to do with corpse and conditioning of minds of people like us. Anyway, they did it to me, and while I was like that, though, it wasn't just Bina's powers that I could mimic. It was everyone and anyone's. But since then, I haven't been able to, and I can't. I don't really know. I mean, I did briefly with Alma once, and barely a couple times since then. Uh, but I haven't been able to figure out how they work. And I guess I was just sort of hoping that maybe you could.
And you are asking if I, with my own abilities, able to ascertain where you think your abilities come from.
Yes, that's pretty much exactly the thing that I was asking. Yep, that.
I will admit I have not engaged in any kind of similar activities. However, I would not be opposed to attempting to try.
Great. Yeah. Um. Uh. Will. Well. I mean, oh, I guess that should probably wait, right, until we're.
Unless you believe it is a pertinent thing to the current mission, if it can wait, then perhaps it should be a better use of time. There is better uses of time elsewhere aboard the ship as we engage with
Sure.
more pressing issues.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess you are working on running numbers and all that. So,
That was a lie.
oh,
I was simply lost in thought.
oh, okay. Uh, none taken again, I guess. Well, I mean, look, if you, it could be. I don't know what. He kind of looks over his shoulder, kind of towards the door he came through, and then looks back at you. I don't know what we're gonna face out there. I don't know what we're going towards. But I feel like maybe it would be a good idea to have every card we can to play.
If it is an issue that you believe is worth solving within the time frame that we have, then I can agree to likewise attempting.
Great. You free now?
No other individuals will be disturbing us for at least another 20 minutes or so. I believe that is an enough place to start.
Great. And he drags over a crate and then just sort of sits on it.
I think CT is going to take off his sunglasses and put them in his little pocket.
Ooh.
And I guess this is probably the first time that CT's eyes has ever been like uncovered. And well, probably people could see that they are red. They do look like a weird red crosshair instead of just straight red. And he is going to approach Vix, not even sit down in his own thing, and just grab his face in his hands and stare into his eyes.
All right.
I would like to scan for any origin of wherever this guy's abilities come from.
All right.
Sick.
Let's make this a roll. So this is going to be an intellect task, and the difficulty on this is going to be 5.
Okay. I have, well, an eye for detail help me here.
Yeah. Wait, is that a skill, or is that like?
It is a skill.
Okay.
It's an intellect skill.
Okay. Yeah.
I know a little bit about everything.
Yeah.
That's such a good one.
It is I am looking at him while I'm doing it. It's a perception task.
Yeah. I'll
Yes.
allow it because you're. Yes.
I'm not doing. Yep. Yeah, that's about it. So 3 is I'm dropping it.
All right. So you just need.
Do you have a level of effort though that you can apply?
Oh yes, I do. I have a free level of effort.
Okay.
That's
So
a good point.
That brings
Thank
it
you.
down to a difficulty 1. So you just need a 3 or better right now.
I will do that. We're
Okay.
gonna roll on that. Got 12.
Okay. So as you start kind of running the data on Vix, just like mentally just sort of feeling as that kind of understanding flowing into you, looking at things, looking at particular aspects and knowing that conclusions that you're reaching about them are accurate, you start pulling pieces of information, and as you do, you start really just kind of understanding Vix, not his personality per se, or like who he is, but about him, the physical being of Vix. You start understanding, you start like things that are coming to your mind, like you've got blood type coming, like that you know things about like DNA sequencing, and as you start looking through this, you start understanding even on a deeper level, a level that goes beyond the physical and just goes to like a mechanical state. And as you start seeing this, you find there is an answer. And then you find there's another one as well. There are 2 separate answers to the question that Vix is asking you. And as you start looking at it, you see that one source of Vix and his powers that is laying dormant, that has been almost blocked in a way. One source of Vix's powers is a deeply analytical part of him, a part that is cold and calculating. It's not unlike what you yourself can do, but on a level specific to others' abilities. It requires a total, complete, and utter dispassionate observer, an observation of a person as anything but a person, stripping away their entire sapient being, while understanding them on a level that is purely mechanics. And then there's the other one. The answer to the other source. And suddenly a bunch of things start making sense to you. For instance, why it is that the only powers that he's been able to mimic well have been Bina's. And you start realizing that Vix, the source of his powers right now come from an understanding of an entirely different sort. The sort that only deals with the personhood of an individual, a deep understanding of a person, of who they are, and of what drives them.
Yeah, CT is probably standing there with his hands on Vix's face for a very long time. That's way probably uncomfortable to a point. But then takes his hands away and puts his sunglasses back on and says, I believe I understood what you meant by certain aspects in your past contributing to other uses of your powers now.
Great.
However, it will require a decision upon you, I believe. And it will require probably quite a bit of consideration. The easy route is to become a person that you have seemed to reject at this point and embrace the idea that you are simply nothing but a vessel for someone else to exist in.
Not liking that option. What's B?
The other option is you spent a lot of time with Bina Oba aboard your ship, the Awakener?
Oh, kind of. I mean, no more than anybody else, I guess.
Comparatively, have you spent time with anybody else aboard the Awakener to the same degree as Bina Oba?
I don't think so.
It is, then your abilities come from, for lack of a better word, your ability to empathize with others. And the reason you are able to mimic Bina Oba is because it appears that her abilities come from empathy and the ability to share her emotions with others around her, and simply from also your prolonged contact and time with Bina. You may either choose to, if you wish to mimic the abilities of every person with other powers aboard any ship or any situation that you come in contact with, you can choose to become very close with them and recognize them as individuals that you would want to spend an inordinate amount of time with and get to know on a level that perhaps even married couples might not know about their significant other.
That is almost as bad.
However, you may also choose to discard any amount of emotion that you feel towards any living creature and simply allow yourself to be what is necessary for the situation that is presented. And if I may speak frankly, you do not appear as though you would like that second option.
Yeah, that's I've been that before. Even before the corpse.
I It would. It sounds strange for me to present these two options to you and then encourage you in one direction or another. However, I will say that the amount of joy and love that can occur when attempting to observe other organic creatures and other creatures given the gift of life itself is much more rewarding than that of becoming cold and heartless in order to seek your goals.
Yeah, that's yeah, thanks. I think I need to go and absorb that. He stands up, says, and says, just thank you again for. Thanks.
You are welcome. I am happy to assist.
He starts kind of walking toward the door, and he stops at the door, and he kind of turns back. He says, "I think you're wrong about one thing, though.
What?
Bina and later Alma. I don't think it's because I spent time around them that I was able to mimic them. I think I just understood Bina and her loneliness being set apart. And when it came to Alma, I understood what being a prisoner felt like."
There are qualities that we mirror in every individual that we meet. And you may find that within every person that you wish to mimic.
Yeah. And he just walks out of the door.
Cece will sit on the floor and to himself for a little bit.
All right. So with that, we'll cut to the bridge where I assume, unless you tell me otherwise, most of the rest of you are.
Now I'm gonna take a nap. Actually,
Okay.
I'll be
Yeah, I
back.
think I actually left on the shuttles with the non-essential crew actually. So I think I'm
Tan's like,
actually...
you guys got this, right? Like that makes me non-essential. I don't need to be. Okay, bye.
I know there's a beach planet somewhere in this sector.
He's just playing Pac-Man, you know.
All right. So, excuse me. While all of you are on the bridge, Bina, you are currently checking the ship's you're checking the Bellerophon's scopes at the moment, monitoring your FTL jump. You're watching ahead of you as slowly but surely a dark patch in the sort of star lines streaking past you, coming towards you and streaking past you, a dark patch at the edge of that started out as just sort of a spot on the view screen, has steadily been growing larger and larger and larger.
Would you say this has taken 10 minutes? And this is a plan that we are enacting to go through the Tatters?
I don't know that there has been any plan enacted.
Our plan is go through the Tatters. It seems.
I don't know that
See what
counts.
happens.
I don't think that counts.
Damn it.
But you are seeing that dark space looming ahead of you, getting larger and larger, and as you continue on, you can see the streaks of star lines that go past you are getting fewer and further between. They're not coming as frequently. You are moving ever closer to a region of the galaxy where the light of distant stars has not managed to penetrate. And within which no stars exist. And as you move closer and closer towards that, the atmosphere on the bridge becomes more and more solemn as gradually people start looking up from their stations. Crew members start looking up, and just after a while, they stop glancing at it and just sort of stop what they're doing and just stare, as the whole bridge seems to be collectively holding its breath as this area of dark space, this void in the galaxy, approaches.
This one will be one for the books, huh?
You have no idea.
Abriel just sort of speaks up and says, maybe a bad time to ask, but, remind me how many people have, successfully navigated the Tatters?
Well, Taeyeon, maybe you could tell us if we did it successfully?
I mean,
Peach says that as a joke.
Taeyeon's like, there's been too many deviations already. I really can't tell what is going to happen or not at this point.
I'm taking that as it will have been one ship.
So, the total is how many exactly?
No one who goes in really comes back to tell the tale.
Great. That's
That we know of.
That's what I was afraid you were gonna say.
Yeah.
We've come back from some hairy things, though.
Yeah.
There's always a first time for everything. We could be the first.
Yeah.
We're all the first of our kind in some way. This will just be another one to add to the list. And if not,
at some point, I'm gonna stop trying to break records. I think.
It's fair.
I'll
It's
believe
kinda
it
like-
I'll believe it when I see it.
It's a little like gambling.
I think you like it, Bina.
Ooh, I do a lot, but I feel like one of these days we're gonna run out of luck. And she just kind of like looks out as this like vast shadow of space just gets closer and closer.
It gets much, much larger over the course of the next couple minutes, and then suddenly it happens. The last star streaks past, and suddenly the view ahead of you is completely black.
Love you all.
Whoa.
Do we still have visual on anything?
I'll pull up like sensors to see what if we can pick up anything from ahead of us.
Yeah. You can see as like the displays start.
Someone who's in charge
yeah,
of
you can
science.
See,
I don't need to do that.
Yeah,
Probably
you can
there's a lot of
you
people
can
here.
see as basically like the sensors, like the sensor station starts kind of feeding you some of like the data that's being picked up by the ship's sensors, as now effectively, theoretically, on a ship of this size, it's designed to be flown exclusively through its sensors anyway. But it does make things a little bit strange, a little bit more difficult, as you're not you're operating entirely on sensor data rather than on like any kind of visual input. You're essentially just seeing the way that the ship does. And as you're looking at this, Alma glances over at you and she says, "It'd be nice to have Awakener right about now."
Yeah. Well, I mean, one bonus, she's safe.
Yeah.
We'll have a ship to come back to.
You almost can't even tell that we're still in FTL.
Not at all.
You, as you're looking at the sensor data, you start seeing, you start picking up, FTL signatures.
Okay.
Those,
Good.
and as you pick them up, you start running them against your earlier scans, and they match the shuttle.
Unlikely that people are just, all willy-nilly moving through the Tatters, so I'm gonna guess this is our
Do
trail
that.
to follow.
Anything we can do to help?
I mean, if we can get as many, she does four-armed air quotes, visuals as possible, if people want to start, I don't know, scanning for different types of energies, as much of an overlay as we can get, I think might be our best shot. We gotta see with the
On
ship.
it. Yeah, can we go and do scans on kind of the nearby area with the stations?
Yeah. So there are like dedicated sensors officers. So you,
Okay.
yeah, you can, if you like, effectively that is what Bina is being fed right now.
Oh, okay, cool.
So yeah, that's kind of what you're seeing scrolling across your screens. As you're kind of looking around the bridge, you can see where there are a couple of places where those screens are kind of the holographic displays are being kind of with all of the sensor data is being projected out. And as you're looking it over, you're seeing basically just nothing. There is just nothing in any direction. The only thing that you're picking up is, you're picking up a variety of background radiation signals, just like you would anywhere else in space. But you're also most clearly picking up that most out of place is that trail, that FTL trail. And so, Bina, as you sort of set your heading and adjust it to follow that FTL course, you look out and you see just the empty void of space.
Captain, is there weapons anywhere that we can man? Just in case.
She looks over at you and says, "Not much. This wasn't intended to be any kind of combat vessel. That said, we have a few light defense turrets, but nothing sophisticated."
That's perfectly fine. I think I can work with light. I don't need too much to deal with any threats that might come our way. So I think that's probably when most useful.
Very well. Why don't you go ahead and post up there? And she gestures over towards one of the stations. She says, "That's our secondary tactical station over there."
Perfect.
Leon, do you want a spotter?
I would appreciate you having my back.
Right behind you.
So the way that these tactical stations are designed is that any and all of the turrets can be controlled from one of the stations, but they're designed to have two individual each tactical station to control a different number of turrets, a separate group of turrets, and each tactical station is designed for both a gunner and a targeter.
Okay.
So basically, y'all can take take up the auxiliary station, while members of the Bellerophon crew take up the other. As you settle in, you start kind of familiarizing yourself with the controls. Bina, there is a moment, maybe, I would say probably about well, what I'll say is that it is slow going. Like, never for you has space travel been so taxing. It is just a persistent nothingness in front of you. No sign to indicate how fast you're traveling, no sign to indicate that you're making any progress at all. In fact, looking through the view screen, it makes you feel like you have simply stopped. Like everything has, like the universe has vanished, and you are hanging suspended in the middle of it.
Probably has like a. Honestly, she's probably feeling like the the type of like restless anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
the like knowing that we're moving, but like not feeling it and being nervous about where we are, as well as the standstill. I'm that Voyager episode where they're in like that pocket of nothing
Mhm.
forever, like, and everyone gets cabin fever. I can,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Gonna say like flying a plane in the middle of the night
Yeah.
where you can't see anything,
Yeah.
but you know you feel yourself moving.
Yep.
Ooh, spooky.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I'll post a screenshot of our universe map of the Tatters in the Discord so everyone can see what that looks like. It's very spooky, this
It
whole
is.
concept. When we came up with it, I'm like, this is horrifying. And now we're here, so
Mhm.
that's even
Mhm.
scary for us.
Yeah. It goes on like this for probably an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. The bridge eerily silent as nobody seems to want to break that silence that has fallen over everyone.
How's everybody feel? Like our crew, and we've done weird shit before, but these are like civilian
Yeah. Everybody's
crew. How are they doing?
everybody's extremely nervous. Different
Okay.
varying levels of anxiety. There is one crew member, one of the bridge crew who you feel in particular above all of the others. And after a while you can sort of feel that anxiety rise to panic, and then at a certain point, like, you actually kind of glance over and you can see that they just sort of step away and say, "Captain, I need to be excused." And
I was gonna ask to dismiss them, so I'm glad they did it themselves.
yeah,
It's very good.
the
Very good and smart of them.
the captain looks at them, glances out the view screen, and nods. Says, report to sickbay." "Yes, Captain." And she walks out.
Venus gonna kind of like not taking her eyes off of the dark space
Mhm.
is just gonna be like, Captain, I think I might be able to help the crew feel a little bit more at ease, but I don't like doing it without asking first. If everyone would be okay with a little bit of external influence.
The captain glances around and then looks at you and says, "As long as whatever you're going to do isn't going to impact their alertness or performance."
If anything, it should make them better.
She glances around, says, "Well," and you can
Yeah,
kind of
kinda
hear,
look at everybody,
yeah,
like-
there's just sort of murmurs of assent from around the bridge.
Okay. I want to try to do basically what I did like on Sulan with the freaked out new supers, and like
Yeah.
I think I've done it a handful of times, but I want to because Bina's like I think she's like weirded out by this, but I don't think she's like scared.
Mhm.
I think she just is feeling restless, so I think she has like enough control on her own emotional state to be like, okay, find my calm, and then I want to kind of encompass the bridge
Yeah.
in like just give them something to hold on to, just like an oh shit bar, but for your brain.
Yeah.
Like, just a little bit of a comfort blanket.
Yeah. Go ahead and give me a roll. It's not going to be a particularly tough
Okay.
one. It's going to be, you might not even need to roll on this one, but it's going to be this is going to be a difficulty 3.
Okay. Social interactions?
Yes.
Okay. That's
Oh, wait.
Wait.
No, sorry. I misunderstood which one you were talking about. I sort of don't think so.
okay.
It's not technically a
Sensing
social.
emotions,
Yes, that's the one that I
dispositions.
thought you were talking about.
That's-
That's
okay.
yes, that one.
I figured I'd ask just because
Yeah,
I was
yeah, yeah.
talking to them. And then I have a level of effort, so
Okay. So, yeah. So you just sort of push that sense of calm out from yourself, kind of radiating it outwards from you. And as you do, you kind of begin to feel them all a little bit more intensely for a moment. And for a second, it almost starts to affect you, but you kind of just push it out. you kind of push it out, radiating that same with that same radiating calm that you feel, that you're pushing out, and you can start to feel as you do that, they start kind of relaxing a little bit too. None of them losing their anxiety entirely,
Yeah.
but all of them able to sort of. You can see several of them sort of straighten themselves up, almost many of them looking as if sort of a weight has been lifted off of them, and they just sort of. And they kind of go back to work. One or two of them kind of glance curiously at you, and then go back to what they're doing.
Give them a little smile.
Yeah. I'm gonna offer you a GM intrusion, however.
Obviously.
Okay. So go ahead and take an XP, and who are you giving the other one to?
Who's up here? On the bridge. Is everyone on the bridge?
Everyone besides CT, I think,
okay.
basically.
Well, the thing is, it's been hours, so like if you want to be on the bridge, you can
could
be.
If you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably at the tail
Okay.
end of this, like
Yeah.
before this happens, it'll come up.
Sounds
but,
good. Yeah.
I'm gonna give it to Remy.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I'm very excited that Remy's staying with us. So
Yeah,
we're
it's
gonna
like
get
one of those
to-
things where like the form of this is that Bina is like kind of radiating calm outwards, and CT walks in feeling kind of neutral and stops. Goes, whoa!
Oh, hello.
Whoa, what is it? Whoa!
Ooh, hello.
It's like,
Alright,
If
hit me.
it's
huh?
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, what were you gonna say?
Wait, hold on 1 second. Someone just came to my door.
Okay.
I had something to say, but what's it?
So, you, Bina, as you're kind of radiating out this calm, and you're feeling while you are kind of pushing out this sense of calm, you're also receiving more, and as you're kind of pushing out and out, you feel movement. You're not sure at first what you just felt, but it's something like an eddy at the edge of your awareness.
Outside of the ship?
As you
Or
start
in the
kind
bridge
of
with us?
feeling it's one of those where you feel it and you're like, wait a second, what was that? And as
Yeah.
you focus
Rewind.
yeah, as you focus on that, you realize that kind of as you're trying to pinpoint the source of it, you realize it's not coming from on the ship.
Do I have any sort of direction, or is it just like on the periphery?
It
of
wasn't
my-
even it's not even still there. It's just like a sort of disturbance that you noted.
Oh.
It wasn't even really emotion, is the thing. It was more like it felt familiar somehow, but unfamiliar at the same time.
Like an awareness or like an absence?
More like it's not really that. It felt almost like an echo,
Oh.
and it felt familiar, but also unfamiliar at the same time.
Like an echo. And I think Bina will kind of like catch it, rewind, not find it again, and kind of like shake it off, but now is kind of like is gonna have an antenna out for that sensation again as we move through.
Yeah. You as you sort of react to it, Alma glances at you and says, "Everything okay?"
Yeah, I thought I felt something just for a second, but not. And she kind of like gestures back, not them. Out there, I thought I don't know. It's weird. I'm gonna keep feelers out for it, but it's gone now.
Okay. And you can see as she starts kind of pulling up sensor data again and starts like basically running like a secondary analysis over
I watch her go through it, and I just say, I don't have a direction, sorry, but she'll kind of like peek over and like watch what she's
Yeah.
doing.
And she's sort of looking through this, she just shakes her head and says, "There's nothing out there as far as the scans can tell." As Mason, as you are sort of getting used to the kind of like you're getting used to the way that the targeting computer works at the tactical station, you're having trouble with it because as you're looking at it, you're seeing that it seems to be sort of targeting, like target locking on nothing. It just keeps like the target lock just keeps sort of jumping around, and
Man, this thing.
yeah.
Damn it.
Taeyeon, like you glance over as Mason swears, and you're like looking at, like watching the targeting computer just sort of jump around.
Is everything okay? What's happening?
I'm not touching it, right? I don't know. It's targeting. It's trying to target something but there's nothing. I don't know if I'm used to the Awakener. Honestly, it's so much smoother, and I don't know what's going on.
You breaking their computers over there, boys?
I mean, if it is broken, it wasn't me.
I mean, it does not look broken.
You hear one of the Bina, you feel confusion from the other side of the bridge, and then you see one of the other tactical officers stand up and say, "Captain, having a little bit of trouble with the targeting computer." The captain
Okay,
looks
it's
over.
happening with you as well?
Yeah, it seems to be on the fritz. I don't know. It seems to be targeting just at random.
Bina's gonna.
Yeah, that's happening with us as well.
Sorry, Kate.
Bina just wants to like, not looking at any displays, not looking at any data being fed in. She just wants to like, just like forward, just like push, like her mind like as far as she can to sense anything. Like maybe specifically that echo that she felt, something in that frequency, but just anything.
Okay.
Like just out ahead. Like closes her eyes and everything,
Sure.
just to see if she can feel anything. To navigate with her brain.
Yeah, I'm gonna have you. I'm
Love
gonna have you make a roll on this one. This is
Oh,
gonna be an
shit.
intellect
Okay.
task. And the difficulty on this, the difficulty is gonna be 6.
Okay. Okay. Emotions, dispositions.
Yes.
Very clearly not task involving sight. I did close my eyes.
Yeah, you explicitly stated that you closed your eyes, so
Yes,
no.
yeah. That wouldn't have helped, I don't think, here anyways.
They're inside my eyelids.
They're in my eyelids. No,
That'd be scary as hell.
and then I have a free level of effort.
Mhm.
And then I'm gonna spend I'm gonna spend 2 levels to get it down to 1. I can do math.
All right, so you
We're
just
good,
need
okay.
a 3 or better right now.
Whew. Okay.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Brought down
Yep.
5.
Yep.
It was 6, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Come on, here we go. Can I fly with my eyes shut? That's a 4.
Better than 3.
3 was still would have been a success.
Bina, you
Mhm.
you immediately feel that echo again, but this time you feel several of them.
Okay.
And I'll give you this. With that many more of those feelings, you start to, it gives you, with a little bit more input basically from this, you're able to sort of start parsing the familiarity of it. And you think back to a time when you were at the controls of Awakener with nobody on the ship but yourself and Alma
Flying
flying
with the Duraga.
in a nebula, feeling not the emotions of the Duraga so much as reflecting their presence. And it feels at once like that, and yet nothing like that at all.
Can I, like, with that, do I have a location, a direction with this now that I have a better kind of grasp on it?
You do. You have several of them.
Okay.
They're ahead of you, above the Bellerophon, below the Bellerophon, you can feel, you're not really sure how many you feel.
Captain,
Yes.
I think we're flying with a pod of Duraga.
Immediately, you feel the captain and the first mate. You feel both of them just like they just completely go cold. And you see as the captain immediately, like the rest of you watch the captain look over at the first mate, who glances back at her, and the captain says, "Shields up, tactical station ready. Everybody, prepare for it." And then just as she says that, you feel an impact as all of Awakener is shaken.
Bellerophon.
But the Bellerophon is shaken.
New ship.
New ship, who
Who
dis?
dis?
I was muted, but I said the exact same thing at the exact same time.
That's how Alma feels.
Oh no.
Yeah, you feel the
Okay.
impact to the ship. As tactical stations starts, you can see tactical stations suddenly. Mason, you're noticing the targeting computer trying to get a lock. You start noticing that it seems to be doing it in a pattern that is consistent with multiple moving objects.
Not random.
Oh.
So after that initial impact, you can see one of the other tactical officer looks down and glances up, says, "Shields are holding, Captain. We're down to 95%." But and just as that, you see you feel another sort of impact, not quite as intense this time, and says, "Still good, Captain." And as the captain stands, she sort of walks up and walks to right behind the helm station, Bina, and kind of puts her hand on the back of the chair and just sort of looks out the view screen. She just says, "I'd only ever heard stories. There's a pod of void Duraga out there.
Void Duraga?
They exist in places like this exclusively, the places where, well, areas of dark space. They feed on anything and everything unlucky enough to come into their presence. Not much out here, so they've evolved to be able to subsist on just about anything."
Well, guess we have to fend them off then.
Tactical, what's your status? The other tactical station says, looks like everything's green, Captain. Good. Auxiliary tactical?
Wait, is that?
Yeah, that's
Me?
you. Yes.
Okay, just to make sure.
Yeah.
Everything's good up here. Don't worry, I got everything under control. At least here.
All right, be ready. She turns, and says, and she just, you can see as she opens a channel to engineering. She says, "Engineering, this is the bridge." "Yeah, go ahead, Captain." "We're going to need every light you can get us, right now." Does this have something to do with the shake we just took?" "Yes, it does. Now, please, get those lights online. All power."
Lights?
"Yes, Captain."
Kind of give Fina a look.
Yeah, and you can see Bina outside as like some of the forward lights just start kind of slowly kind of rising up, and you see as they do, Bina, immediately you see the multiple forms just sort of in front just on the edge of the light beams. You can see several of them, much smaller than any of the Duraga that you've encountered. In fact, these Duraga are probably roughly the size of Awakener, as far as you can tell. But as they go past, you can see as they just sort of it's impossible to tell how many of them, as they seem to be flying almost like a school of fish. They just sort of together as a sort of large mass.
Do they react to the light, or is that for us to see?
That's mostly you seeing them. As that
Or
happens,
I
by
don't
the
know if they react to the light.
Yeah,
or
like
if we're
what-
living in pitch darkness. If
That's
they
what I
have
was
any
they
reaction.
wondering
seem not
too,
to
if it would
react.
scare
No,
them.
they didn't seem to
Okay.
react at
Okay.
all. But
Okay.
I will say that, Mason, you see that your targeting computer is able to get one or two of them for like a little bit longer. It's is able to
Mhm.
track and hold for a little longer.
Well, that's good.
And we're flying at we're like FTL right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they fly at FTL. I should know if we
Mhm.
had slowed down or anything. Okay.
All right. It's not much, but it's going to have to do. Tactical, do your work.
I wanna try to like. I'm just gonna kind of like lift a hand up, and I wanna try to see if I can press a sunlight to the top of the ship to see if we can like hold on to one. Like if I can hold the sunlight like moving with us.
Hmm.
The big burst of it to like above us to give them more more of a visual.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. You.
I don't know if it's possible. You can just say
No.
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 I'm
I'm just trying to think of like. I think if you spend an XP, that should be possible.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's help out my friends.
All right. Bina, you watch as suddenly outside of the view screen, you see just like the light starts rising and then it just sort of blazes outwards. The view screen immediately tints to cover. But immediately you can see just surrounding the Bellerophon dozens and dozens of these deep black Duraga, matte black, reflecting none of the light that is now shining upon them, illuminating them. It's like being inside of a school of fish as they sort of circle and swarm around you, still at FTL speeds, circling around Awakener.
Bellerophon.
Fuck. I don't know what ship you're on. Yeah. So, with that, Mason and Taeon, you're able to, it's looking like the tactical computers, were unable to track the movement of the Duraga in all of this. But with the additional visual sensory input, they're able to sort of redirect their targeting capacity to that. So.
Oh boy, sweet. I've not been a gunfight in FTL since my sweet 16. Okay, let's see if I still got this.
All right.
Oh,
So.
enjoy it.
Captain, do you know how have you heard rumors of how these things see? Are they like regular Duraga, or how do they know where we are?
I don't know. My guess is picking up any number of the emissions that the ship is giving off.
So if they couldn't detect the emissions of the ship, maybe they couldn't follow us.
I don't know. Maybe.
Hmm.
So, Tan, Mason, it's on you now. The captain.
Amazing,
The captain.
anything to help?
The captain calls out. Basically, it says, "Tactical, fire at will, deterring shots only. Let's try to push through. Make us a hole."
Focusing fire sounds good.
Okay, so I'm going to try and I'm gonna go measly for disable engine drives. The only thing I can see, just merely try and
In this case,
Stop them from moving.
ship combat rules are probably not going to apply here. This is because these are
Okay.
these are creatures, so ship combat rules don't apply.
Oh, they very true. Okay, I'm just gonna roll in.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I guess I'm just giving you an asset, right?
yeah.
An assist or something like that. Okay.
So,
Okay, so just
yeah. So the difficulty on this task is going to be 6. And yeah, I think it's up to you whether you use speed or intellect. It's either way.
Okay. I think I'll go speed.
Okay.
So, actually, no, intellect. I just realized intellect is my way better stat. I'll go with intellect. But I got 2 in accuracy for power shifts.
Okay.
Targeting eye, which is an ability I have, which bumps down any device I use to attack, any ranged attack anyway. So it brings it down to a 3. I use a 3 level of effort to bring it down to a 2. What kind of weapon is this kind of? Is this a medium weapon, light weapon, or is it completely different because it's a ship?
Yeah, it's completely different because it's a ship. So,
yeah, I'm trained in tasks involving sight.
Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah. So
perfect.
You're down to.
I think it's 0 actually.
Is it 0?
Because I haven't included the asset that Mason is giving me.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, I think that
Yeah,
does bring
I'm
it
still
down to
gonna
0.
roll.
Yeah. All
I'm
right.
still rolling.
Sounds good.
I'm always gonna test fate.
Just a hair to the left.
Oh yeah, and then a 7.
Okay. Yeah. So you just sort of fire a burst across like through the from like a variety of turret banks as they just sort of fire off and sort of kind of actually sort of working in concert with the other tactical station as both just sort of fire off kind of a volley of light turret fire into the basically into the swarms of Duraga that are sort of moving around. And as you do, you see as several of them seem to just sort of instantaneously, as soon as the blasts make contact, just sort of break from the from the swarm. And you can see this happening sort of all over the place, and then the swarm struggling to try to fill the gap. But you're
I
seeing.
actually have 2 attacks because of rapid attack.
That's true.
So I will
Yeah.
do that again.
Yeah, you do.
So do all my skills apply again? right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I'd
don't
say
think
so.
I have an asset though, would I?
Probably not. Probably not in this
Yeah,
instance.
that's the
Because you're
one, that's
basically
fine.
like you're firing again before Mason can help retarget. So
Yeah.
yeah.
A 10.
Okay.
So I'm gonna fire immediately afterwards.
Yeah, immediately afterwards, the turret banks are sort of repositions and just sort of fires again another burst out into the swarm of Duraga. You can see now that there is sort of starting to be a bit of a break in the swarm a little bit, like not quite enough for the Bellerophon to get through, but they are starting to sort of, you're seeing gaps basically. So as that's happening, suddenly you can see as a pocket of the swarm just sort of swirls around and makes directly like head on for the ship, and you can see as they crash against the Bellerophon's shields. I think this is not really like a check that anybody needs to make, because there's not really like any maneuvering around this. This is just sort of the shields withstanding. So I'll tell you what, Caitlin, why don't you stand in for the Bellerophon in this one and just roll a d20 for me?
Oh, motherfucker. Okay.
Oh no.
Okay, I'll
I
roll
don't like that.
die. Okay. I won't roll my Bina die because that's for Bina. I'll roll this one. Come on, Bellerophon. That is a 4.
Okay. You see as this pocket of the swarm crashes against the shield and just starts like spreading across it, almost to the point where like ahead of you almost can't even really fully see what's happening, as the shields themselves start sort of rippling from the impact of all of the Duraga. And you can hear the call from the primary tactical station. It says, "Captain, shield integrity is down to 45%. We can't take another hit like that." So as that is happening, I'm actually gonna offer a group intrusion here. So
Yeah. I'm impressed.
Okay,
Yeah.
I still want to try to do something at some
Sure.
point to
This
help
is-
us
so
lose
there's-
these guys.
there's
but...
So everybody go ahead and take 1 XP. as the shield,
Okay.
as strain is put on the shield. Bina, this is something that you would have been aware of, but and been thinking about, but now it's happening. Shields at FTL is not a good idea ever.
Yeah.
And as it was a risky maneuver, to be sure. But with the impact that was just rendered against the shields themselves, you immediately start hearing like the warning signs, or this warning sirens blaring. As you glance down and just see that there seems to be actually one of the people at the engineering station calls out, "Captain, power fluctuations all across the ship. We're about..." And before they even finish the sentence, the ship just... You all feel the jerk as the ship drops out of FTL.
Oh shit! I was gonna drop on purpose, but I had a plan for it first. Huh.
Yeah. And you hear comms as the captain just says, "This is Bridge. Go ahead, engineering. Captain, the FTL drive just shorted. We're doing a full restart. It's the only way we're gonna be able to get it back online, but we need a few minutes. Do what you can, engineering. You've got..." She kind of glances out, says, "You've got 2 minutes. Go." And she closes the channel. So says,
What output can we shut off while they do that?
"Huh?
What can we shut off while they do that? Is there anything that like, I mean, Bina would probably know this, but like leaves a trail, gives off any sort of energy input, like any energy output off of the ship? Is there anything that we can dampen in the meantime that will give them more time?
There's
at
really
all?
no way to do that, because basically
Okay.
at this point what you're seeing, what's happening is, because of the sudden FTL drop, basically there's just a huge cloud of
yeah,
like
we're right
the
in the
emissions
middle of
from you're right there. So even if at this point you were able to shut anything off, it wouldn't matter, because you're still just
Okay.
you are essentially even leaving aside the giant sun that is attached to the hull of the Bellerophon, you are basically a beacon for these creatures.
Mhm.
So Olivia, you
I'm
said
gonna
you were
leave-
gonna...
I think you leave the light on.
Yeah.
Because if they already know with all of the energy up, but they'll be able to find us. At least we can do is be able to see them coming.
Olivia, what
Oh,
did you
okay.
say? What were you
Well,
gonna
I
do?
was gonna try to like do the opposite, but if we're leaving the light on, I was gonna try to like mask all of that, like I did on the Awakener.
Yeah, there's
previously,
not
like, try
really-
to-
The thing
The
is, there's
energy is
not...
harder.
Yeah. But when you did that then, you were in the middle of a nebula where you could kind of mask using the actual, like the gases and the radiation of the nebula itself. Here, there's not really going to be a way to do that, unfortunately. So, yeah.
Okay.
Oh God. Oh my. Where's Vix?
What? Vix?
Is Vix up here?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
I hope so. I want him near me, because we all die.
Oh God.
Oh, jeez.
That's something Peach and him probably were talking about. Quietly.
I don't know if this will give us any time against Draga, but I wonder if I can make us stinky to them. Like if they don't want it, like
What?
we're rotted meat.
I-
We're not good.
I don't
We're
know.
not good energy. It's not tasty.
I don't know if you can do that.
Not a vibe.
Like, in as big of a radius as you need that to work.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if it'll work.
Yeah, I
if I can
don't-
put it into the energy output molecules, because then it would disperse. I don't know. I'm making stuff up. I'm trying to get crafty.
I don't know. I don't think that there's a way for you to do that, because that's like chemical, and your thing
Emotional.
is sort of...
Wait. What type of weaponry, like the firearms, is it like an energy, or are they physical projectiles?
Mostly physical projectiles.
Okay,
Oh.
hold on. I'm-
What?
Okay, what if... So this, I can't, okay, the way the foul aura works, sorry, I'm above tabling this.
Mhm.
The way the foul aura works is you can invest an object no larger than yourself with an aura of doom or fear or doubt for one whole day. What if we just like volley these, they're physical. We could just throw them out to just like keep them away till we have time to, I don't know, get
So-
out of here. We could try it, I don't know.
Okay.
Stink. Do not underestimate the power of stink.
So here's
Stinky.
here's the
Emotionally stinky. Sorry.
here's how that would theoretically that could work, but you wouldn't be able to use like just sort of the regular turrets. You'd have to launch something, like
Yeah.
the regular turrets. So your weapon system's probably not the way to do it. However, you are on a research vessel.
We are.
There are probes that can be launched.
Is there they have like they have secondary helms, people.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
just
no,
up here
absolutely.
for whatever.
Yes.
I'm just gonna Rina's gonna like wave someone over, one of the other helms people over, and be like, I'll be right back. And I'm gonna grab Vix, and we're gonna go make some emotionally stinky probes.
That's awesome.
All right.
Just to give us some time. I don't know. I'm just throwing spaghetti at the wall.
The as the two of you start leaving, the captain goes, "Where are you headed?"
The science lab. I have an idea. It might give us a little bit of time. I'll be back. And she's gonna have Vix by the forearm and she's
Yeah.
gonna run.
All right. Yeah.
I'm gonna. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say. I'm gonna turn to the CT and just say, "What do you think Void Duraga are afraid of?"
That is a very good question, but something larger than itself is often a fear factor in things when you are traveling in a vessel that small.
How big are the Void? Can we see how big they are?
Yeah, they're about the size of Awakener.
Okay. Because basically these things are scary. What I wanted to try to do is I wanted to basically try to use Nightmare and create basically, these things are terrifying. So to create one that's like bigger than it. To try, because then one Nightmare can do physical damage. Like it's not like Dreamcraft that can't do damage. Like Nightmare inflicts damage, so if it comes near, it can attack. But it also can just like lurk near the ship and like look scary.
Yeah.
We put the probes inside the Nightmare Droga and
I just make a scary pinata. I love it.
So
Scary pinata. Pinata foul aura.
it's like a pinata, but inside, instead of candy, it's just fear. So, I'm trying to think about that, and just from like a logistically, from standpoint of, they didn't really react to the light, which kind of gives you the impression that they can't.
They can't see. Yeah.
So like any kind of, like, I guess if it's some kind of, it would depend on how that works, because if it's like an illusion, then that like isn't gonna do a lot, but yeah.
I mean, it can still do physical damage, but
Can
Yeah.
I
see it
stop
coming, I guess.
Bina before she leaves the bridge?
Sure. Yeah.
yeah, what's up?
You have encountered Duraga before, yes.
Briefly, but not this kind.
That is fine. In the case that you encountered them in, did they follow any specific type of leader or any kind of pattern therein?
Would I recognize that in them while we were flying around? They mimicked each other. I could.
Yeah.
They lit up more, and they would kind of cycle through different like luminescence together. Did I see? Yeah, but did I see a leader?
If there was one, you didn't note any kind of leader.
Not to my knowledge. They all just kind of worked as one big unit.
That is good enough. Please continue with your original task as necessary.
Okay, I'll run off.
Okay. So as Bina and Vix run to one of the science bays, let's see. I think at this point, Olivia, do you have anything that you're gonna do?
So
or...
it's not. I don't think it's sight based, because it can do physical damage, and it just says it pulls it into the waking world.
Gotcha.
So I assume it wouldn't just be sight. It's not just an illusion. Like it's a physical creature
Right,
that is
right,
there.
right. Gotcha.
So it would be sense like it's just another creature
Sure.
for the time that it's there, but I have to focus on it each round basically to keep
Gotcha.
it.
So it
keep
wouldn't.
there.
It's not necessarily like a thing that they are.
It says you pull a
Yeah.
horrifying creature from your worst nightmare.
Yeah. That's
And these
fair.
things are pretty fucking scary.
That's fair. So yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay.
So
I'll
yeah, go ahead and mark off whatever you need to spend for that.
My edge does not eat that. That's a big ability.
So how does it work? It just
So basically, it gets pulled into the world. So I'm gonna have it kind of like near the ship, like kind of hovering near it. It persists each round that I concentrate on it, and it can do like one of a couple of things. What I'm gonna have it do is I'm gonna make it do the horrify feature, which has it instead of the nightmare doing an attack. Any target that like comes near it, it would take 3 points of damage that ignores armor. So it's the horrify feature.
gotcha.
So it, like
Okay, cool. That sounds good. Yeah. So
oh, and the nightmare is level 5. It has 15 health and it inflicts 5 points of damage on like normal attacks.
okay, cool.
I was gonna ask if can I supplement that at all too?
How so?
Anything that does get near it, try to disrupt the systems of any ship that does like approach.
I'm gonna announce
it's
as I'm
like-
doing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
its
I didn't-
vicinity to like not necessarily like do damage to it, but to boast the danger that this object poses.
Sorry. So are you using an ability or what are you doing?
Yes.
Okay. Which
Something like shatter. This is like the closest thing that is there, but that's like
Gotcha.
a very minor disruption, but still something that probably would be read by the whoever is running the ships or something.
I want to announce that not to attack the one that's on top because like it would be on the sensors now. Like they would sense it. It would be probably like visually there too. So I'm warning people not to attack it.
So hold on. I'm sorry. I'm not sure I'm understanding what you're trying to do, Remy.
So it already has like the feature that like the nightmare feature to like horrify, but something like beyond like its actual like terror radius, like things that I can see that are getting closer to it to affect like something minorly within like its systems to say like even further beyond that to like something that
Oh, I think I know what you mean. I think we both had the same misunderstanding. These aren't ships, right? These are like living creatures
Mhm.
flying through space. Yes. So
Yeah.
they don't have systems to interfere with. if that's what
they're
it is.
living okay, that is
Yeah.
the one thing that I didn't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I did. I was like,
that's
yeah,
kind of what
the
I thought.
space
That's kind of
girls.
what I thought you were getting at. But that's why I was asking questions because I wasn't
Yes.
sure. I wanted to make sure that's what you meant. So yeah.
Yes.
So
Okay,
okay.
then
Yeah, that's what I
Mix
thought.
what
That's
I
why
was
I went.
getting.
That's why I went straight to like ship maneuver and ship like weapon
Yeah.
maneuvers at first because like these are ships, right? No, these are like massive space
Yeah.
whales.
So
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, so essentially, Olivia, what you're doing is you're manifesting just a giant void Duraga.
Yeah, there's no size limit with this
Right.
ability. Like
We'll just
there's
say that you
listed
mirror the
limit.
size of the Bellerophon. You just sort of like
Yeah.
have like a void Duraga that is the size of the Bellerophon, just kind of like
Mhm.
hitching a ride on top of it.
Don't mind this one.
All right, so we'll go ahead and say, for the sake of this, that as Taeon and Mason are beginning to target another round, you watch as they start gathering again, just like they did before, getting ready to strike. And as you see that, you can see that they're starting to gather to attack. And you, what are you doing?
Well, with Mason's help, I'm going to fire at the head of this spear maneuver. They seem
Sounds
to be trying
good.
to do that.
All right, it's the same thing. It's still a difficulty 6.
Okay, so I'm going to roll twice because then first one is with 0 and then the second one was difficulty of 1.
Okay, sounds good.
So thank God the first one was a 0 because I rolled a 2. And the second one rolled a 12.
I was gonna ask, does the light that currently is on top, because that didn't factor into your first one, did that make the difficulty 6, or does that work as an asset or help?
Neither. It made it so that
Made it possible?
yes, possible.
Okay,
It made
that's
it
what I wanted. That's what I was
possible.
asking. Cool.
Like I guess it still would have been possible before, but like you wouldn't have been able to use targeting computers or anything like that. like you would have just had to basically be firing into
Hope
the
for the
darkness.
best.
So
Mhm.
like
I just wanted
Yeah.
to make sure that it was something.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. So okay. With that, then you watch as this sort of like this kind of pocket of the swarm gathers once again and starts making for the ship. And as you just sort of release a volley into them, you deter quite a few of them, and then just sort of the last pocket as they're coming forward, reach just into proximity of the Bellerophon before the giant Daraga sort of slams out towards them, and like just kind of stops them dead as they just sort of dazedly sort of fly off away from the shields.
Done that one before.
All right.
It's terrifying, but helpful.
So we'll cut down to the launch bays, down to like the probe bays basically, as Bina and Vix are arriving, and Vix, as you're running, says, "Okay, so what exactly is it we're doing?"
Okay, do you remember what we did with the weird warped down in the basement?
Yeah.
Elevator? Okay, I think we can put it on things, on items, and I want to send it out
Okay. Yes.
and just maybe just dissuade a little bit. And with this ability, I think we can do it a bunch of times because you do it and then it lasts for 24 hours.
Sure.
So I might be able to do a handful of them if they have probes to spare.
Yes, they do, but the thing is, like, they can only launch like
Yeah.
one at a time.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but yes.
Figured if we can give us like a net of them or something, like get like one on each side of the ship, maybe like front and back or top and bottom or something like that, where there are multiple angles, so that there's just something. I
The
don't
probe
know.
launcher doesn't quite work that way. It's not a turret or anything like that. It literally is just you slide the probe in, you just like highlight a trajectory, and then it just sort of fires off in that direction. So
In direction. Okay, it's not like a okay.
like, yeah.
Cool. So I guess we're gonna get a couple of them set up then with the fear or
I mean,
ready to,
theoretically,
so we don't
the
freak out
probes
them.
can self-direct, but again, it's basically you'd have to program the trajectory into them every
Yeah.
time,
Okay.
like with each individual one. So like that's, yeah. So the thing is, you can probably get one, maybe two probes out by the
Okay.
time it would actually still be relevant. Like,
Okay, cool. So we'll do that.
yeah. So yeah, as you and Vix just sort of each just sort of move to a probe, and yeah, I'll just say you just do that. And a couple of
Spend just a little bit because my edge doesn't eat all of it. but-
yeah, sounds good. And
How many do we do?
well, it's one at a time basically. So
Okay,
like
so we'll do the one
yeah.
right away. Cool.
So as you do that, Vix takes it and just loads it into the launch tube, and then and he goes okay, and he starts kind of programming the trajectory. Says,
It's the direction that they're coming at us, basically, just to maybe
Yeah.
if we can scatter some of them or something,
Yeah.
like maybe it'll give us some time.
yeah, Vix sort of is looking and says, okay, if we aim directly ahead of us, we might be able to punch a hole in the swarm and maybe get through. I'd rather have them chasing us than all around us, so
Yes. Yeah.
and you see as he's programs it in and says, okay, ready. And he hits the button, and you watch as the probe just and you can see on the display that the probe has launched. Y'all up on the bridge. Yes, what were you saying?
I was gonna say if I could get like, or if Vix could do like enough, like have one like ready to have one on standby. If I could get back up to the bridge, if we get through and they're chasing us, and we can send one back at them, that might be. I don't know if that's gonna be helpful. I'm just trying to like, how can we? I
Okay,
wanna lose
let's
them.
track one thing at a
Yeah.
time, because that has
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
not at that situation yet.
No, I know.
So-
I just like prepping another one was
Yeah.
the thought
Um,
while we were down here. If I should leave.
So,
that was the plan.
up on the bridge, y'all watch as as the computers, especially those at Tactical Station, note the computers note a launch of one of the sensor probes, and as it fires ahead, you watch as it shoots directly towards sort of a concentrating swarm or concentrating pocket in the swarm of the Duraga, and you watch as they just start parting around it. The captain glances over and says, "Helm, take us through that hole now." And you'll feel the lurch as the Bellerophon just sort of shoots forward. And in just a moment, you watch as the Bellerophon, taking full advantage of the hole that was punched by the sensor probe, bursts through the swarm. You can see as a couple of Duraga just sort of impact on the shields going as the Bellerophon goes past them. But a couple others who attempt to take the Bellerophon get deterred by the large nightmarish Duraga following.
They get dazed.
Yeah.
For-
And as y'all are pulling through the swarm, moving ahead, you I'm gonna say Peach and CT, since both of you are just sort of not kind of at a station, you're able to kind of look up ahead through the is that true? Actually, I don't think you'd be able to see it, but you would be able to if you're near the captain's chair, you'd be able to see on her displays she's not looking at the display, she's looking ahead. And as you look, you can see that there is a sensor ping. There is an object out ahead of the Bellerophon somewhere. A large object.
Is it outside of the swarm?
Yes, it's up ahead. Yeah.
Then I'm like leaning over her shoulder and like honing into that.
Yeah.
Like if she's not looking.
Yeah, as you pull forward and you look at it, you're seeing basically just an initial ping, and then you're watching as the sensors are catching up as they are sort of scanning the object, and you see
Shuttle.
not a shuttle, it's a planetoid.
Planet?
Guessing not a known planetoid.
No. This is a rogue planet. The kind of thing that is likely, there are likely several like this, just sort of free floating in the in the Tatters. Possibly one of the many hazards that have prevented anyone who's gone in from coming out. That kind of thing at FTL, there's no accounting for that.
Miss Peach, is the dangers of being shot out of dark space worse than being shot on sight when we land down on a planet?
I think dark space is worse.
The captain, who has now caught on to what the two of you are looking at, the captain looks and says, "I agree. Helm?" "Aye, Captain." And you see as the Bellerophon adjusts course in the direction of the planetoid.
Holy shit, a planet.
As the Bellerophon makes towards it, on sensors, Mason and Taeon, y'all are watching, just sort of continually taking shots, just sort of deterring the swarm from approaching. Y'all are watching as the Duraga swarm has closed immediately behind the Bellerophon and is now in full pursuit, gaining ground quickly.
Ooh. Ooh.
I think you're muted, Drag.
Yes. God damn it. I have a question. The thing called a red line attack,
Mm-hmm.
where I can overcharge weapons or ricochet shots, and I would like to ricochet some shots so I can get the most out of one shot.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Heck yeah.
I imagine that
So,
the way
yeah,
that this,
it doesn't say how many steps increases that though. so
I
don't
think
know.
by default it's just
It increases complication range. range, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I think for
Okay.
each level of that, I would say that like you can ease one step basically.
Okay.
So like just by default, I think that is a ridiculous maneuver. So just by default, that's gonna be like a difficulty 10. So like if you were
Okay.
just doing it just on your own, but if you're doing like if you're pulling a red line maneuver, that's how you're gonna be able to attempt this. So I imagine that the way that this looks is like Taeon having an idea and just sort of turning to Mason as Mason just starts running calculations on this.
That's a mad
Mason.
idea, but I love it.
It worked on my Sweet 16.
I believe you.
And I'm gonna roll for it. So it's still a 6, but the red line maneuver increases the complication range,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Okay,
And that's
so
for
again the first
that's
one's
for
gonna be-
anybody who is attempting tasks. That's for everybody. That's for the whole crew. So
I'm sorry for everyone.
Yeah. So
Okay,
so
so
cool.
fucking
Fucking do
there.
it. Do it. Come on.
There.
so you only
Yeah, the
so
first
but the
one-
thing is only you need to I think it's a spend, right? It's an XP spend, and the only you need to spend the initial XP to do this. And then anybody can make use of that red line.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So would it since I can attack twice, would it be 2 XP for each, 1 XP for each?
I
or
think
how
the
would that
XP
work?
is tied to the like
It's just like the first time you do
yeah,
it.
and the XP
right?
the
Okay.
XP that you spend is tied to how much you want to ease the thing, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So yeah.
Okay, I'll use 1 XP.
Okay, so you're easing one step and then increasing the intrusion range to 3, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that.
Okay, sounds good. So right now it's a difficulty 9, 8 if you include the asset from Mason. So
Okay. I automatically bring it down to another 5, so a 3.
Okay.
With all of my skills.
okay,
So I'm just gonna roll from there.
okay. So it's a 9 or better that you need right now.
Yeah. 10. 10 for the first one. Okay.
Okay.
So kind of like I think it's kind of like I think he's moving at this point. The turret is a bit too slow to go for what he's trying to do. So you kind of see a pulse of his energy, and it envelopes the turret, and you just see everything just suddenly speed up. The gears, everything, the wiring, everything just speed up very suddenly as he moves the turret into position and starts fires at just the precise angle where when it collides, it will like break and split off, and then those would ricochet off other
Yeah.
things. And
Yeah. And yeah, you can see kind of like the tracers of the weapons fire just bouncing around between several of the members of the swarm. You can see it's like a light show. You're watching the around.
And
Yep.
I'm gonna do the same with my second attack,
Okay.
and I think that'd make it a difficulty 4.
for 12 or better.
Right? Or do I have to? Okay, 12 better. I'm gonna use another level of effort.
Okay.
Um,
Bring it back down to a
Um,
9 or better.
yeah. Okay.
Sick.
15. 15.
Yeah. So again, another volley, watching as they just streak out and just. And you watch on sensors, Mason, as the Duraga swarm slows from this. They lose some ground actually on the Bellerophon.
Are we gonna call that the
Still
Sweet
got it.
16 now?
That's actually a pretty good name. Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
And as you pull ahead, you can see that the rogue planet. You can actually see it now as the ships, like basically you're seeing it as sort of an approaching mass in the darkness that is sort of just on the edge of this projected light that is coming out. And as you see it, you can see once again the Duraga swarm on sensors that are starting to kind of close and close once again. And you can hear the other tactical officer go, "Captain, they're coming. Their engineering is still is still a minute out, and they're going to be closing. Impact is imminent." The captain looks around and says, "Everyone brace for impact. This isn't going to be pretty." And as everybody braces, you can see impact. The tactical officer goes, "Impact in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then nothing. The impact never comes. And as you all kind of slowly glance up, looking around, you see that the Daraga swarm has fully stopped. They are no longer moving, at least not towards the Bellerophon. They seem to be moving kind of laterally, but they've stopped moving towards the Bellerophon. And as the Bellerophon continues, you can see that the swarm moves further and further away on sensors. The captain looks around and says, "Report. What's going on?"
Why'd they stop?
The sensor station looks up, and she shakes her head, says, "I don't know, Captain. They just stopped. I'm not
Is it the planetoid?
running a scan." And Bina, you receive a comms from Abriel. Says, "Hey, whatever you did, it worked, but got something new happening. Might want to come up here."
Okay, on my way. And I'll kind of like look at Vix like, huh.
Says, "I hate it when people do that. Why don't they just tell us what's going on while we're on our way?" And he just
I don't know. And Bina's gonna be like, maybe I can pull up the bridge reports on her. She has their
Yeah.
walking. She's gonna try to get the bridge reports on her terminal as we walk.
Yeah,
in.
you're able.
We'll go back.
Yeah,
up.
you're able to, on your way up, you're able to pretty quickly figure out what happened. You are able to pick up the sensor readings of the Daraga, basically just as the last of them just sort of dwindle past past any kind of visual sensors range, and then just sort of once they're past that range, they just blink out. They're just not there anymore because the Bellerophon has lost any ability to track them at that point. And as you all
I don't know if there's an end probably time on. Oh, lasts for 1 hour. Oh, okay. I'll make the light go away.
Yeah.
We don't need it.
as you all gather back on the bridge, you watch the Bellerophon approaching. Now, what you can see, you can't quite get a view of the surface of this planetoid, but you are able to detect it at least through scans now. As you're approaching, the sensor station sort of looking around says, "Captain, I'm not sure what made the Daraga stop following us, but I am detecting some signals from that planetoid. Nothing strong, just it looks like it's coming from some sort of structure on the surface. I'm not getting any transmissions or anything from it, no background chatter or anything. But take a look at this." And you can see as she swipes over to the readings to the display. You see from the sensor readings, the telemetry that was just sort of shown to everybody. You see a familiar trail. The shuttle trail leads directly down to that structure.
Might know what kept the Daraga away. I think they might be laying out some kind of pulse artifact. Even they know to be afraid of it.
Abriel just sort of crosses her arms and just says, "If that's the only thing that's down there."
That's a good point.
At least we know we have reached our probable intended destination.
The captain says, "Helm, bring us up." Aye, Captain. And you see as the Bellerophon slowly begins decelerating. and then comes to a stop. The captain turns and says, turns to you, Peach. Says, well, here it appears we've reached our destination. This is as far as we can go. You're welcome to any of the shuttles.
Thank you for taking us this far.
We'll be here when you come back.
You have an excellent crew, if I may say.
So do you.
Yeah. Good shots, everybody. Lots of good shots all around.
Thank you.
She opens a channel and says, Launch bay. Have shuttles ready. Prepare security team. And she says, it's the least I can do, I suppose.
We appreciate that.
Never know.
And
Don't know.
Captain,
Yes.
if anything goes wrong while we're down there, please contact us.
Understood. I'll have a secondary security team standing by just in case anything goes wrong down there.
Yes, that sounds reasonable.
She nods.
Thoughtful.
Says, Helm, put us into a geosynchronous orbit with the planetoid. Captain. Right above that station. And as y'all begin making your way to the shuttles, to the launch bay, you leave the bridge behind. And I think that's where we're going to go on our break. Much later than we normally do.
Oh, whoa.
So
I know I ran out of water a long time
Yeah.
ago. I didn't time that
I just
well.
wanted to make sure that we got through all that. So we're gonna take a short break, and everybody try to be back as quickly as you possibly can. We'll be back in just a few minutes, everybody. So we'll see you when we come back.
BRB.
And we're back, everybody. Hello, for the first time ever in exactly 10 minutes.
Good job. Good job.
Well done, everybody. All right. When we left off, the crew had had fended off a swarm of void Doraga and reached a rogue planetoid in the dark space of the Tatters. You were in the process of loading up on the shuttles, along with a security team, some of Hayes' leftover security that's still on the ship. Yeah, so that's where we're going to pick up right now. So where we're at, as you all are setting up, let's see. Here we go. This is, I think, what I was looking for. Oh wait, that's actually not what I was looking for. My mistake. Let's get some atmosphere in here, shall we?
As we head to the shuttle.
Yeah. So, as you make your way to the loading bay, you watch as a 10 person security team stands ready, as the shuttle is approaching, or as you're approaching the shuttle. The security team looks to all of you and basically signs ready. And as Vix walks up to them and says, "Okay, who's in charge here?" And one of the security team just says, "That'd be me." Vix says, "Incorrect." And he just sort of he points over at Taeon. He says, "He's in charge."
Yes, I'm in charge, and I just want to make sure that as long as we're on that planet, you answer to my orders, no one else's. Understand?
They all kind of look at each other and say, "Yes, sir."
Is everyone ready?
As ready as ever be.
Agreed.
This, whatever's down there, they know we're coming.
The reception, I hope, will not be too outrageous.
And if
think
it
it'll
is-
Fun.
Yeah, that's the word for it.
All right. So, as y'all load up on the shuttle, Bina and Alma taking the pilot and co-pilot seat respectively, the shuttle lifts off and exits the hangar bay and makes for the rogue planetoid below. Let's see. I think I've got a thing for this. There we go. Ooh, this might actually not be the track I was looking for. Hold on. I spent time today looking for the track that I needed. So I'm gonna use it. Is it this one?
Yes, please.
Let's get
Here we
this
go. This is what I was looking for. All right. So, the shuttle piloted by Bina streaks down towards the signal that was being or not signal, but the towards the structure that's on the surface of the planetoid. Levels okay for y'all? Okay, cool.
Yep.
You make your way down to the surface, Bina, and as you're approaching, you sort of start drawing up level with the structure. As you approach, Alma just sort of glances over and says, "All right, turning on spotlights here. Give me 1 second." And she says, "Here." And you can see as she starts tripping the spotlights, and the shuttle spotlights just activate and illuminate a pretty old structure. You're not even really sure just at a glance what the architecture is. What you can see as you approach, you can see what is very clearly a hangar bay. The doors open, and curiously, as you approach, Alma glances up and says, "Huh. It looks like the atmospheric shell is still intact."
That's odd.
Getting time here, or it's just a remnant?
I don't know. I'm not picking up any specific power readings just yet. Low level, but nothing that would indicate fully operational systems.
I guess that's more reason to stay on guard.
There's something else here, and she pulls up basically an image that sort of projects onto the actual view screen, where the view screen itself magnifies to the inside of the hangar bay, where you can see another of the Bellerophon's shuttles landed inside the hangar bay. But it's also not the only shuttle in there. There are shuttles, there are actual ships in there. Many of them look like they've been there for a long, long time.
Like all different kinds of ships.
Mm-hmm. Actually, CT, as you're looking, you don't recognize the shuttles or the ships themselves, but you do recognize the make of a few of them. And they are basically of the same make that corporate colonies use.
Fair warning, we might be walking into something corporate influenced. However, I'm not exactly sure how deep that influence runs.
But
Thanks
these
for the
people
warning.
Were these ships all drawn here and the crews with them, just like Hayes was?
Hayes was a much more recent effort, and supposedly, if we are to continue with the line of thought that the artifact is what drew him here, then it appears unlikely that it was the same cause. However, it is not impossible that something related to the phenomenon could have done it.
Bina, do you think you can feed anyone out here?
I might need to be closer, but I'll kind of just put some general feelers out. Anyone in this like hangar bay?
As you kind of draw up closer to it, no, it does not appear that there's anyone in the hangar bay.
We're good for now, but we'll see as we move in, I guess.
Perhaps exercising caution in probably the same level that we did aboard the mining asteroid would be well due in this similar scenario.
Like a plan.
As you approach, you note Bina as the shuttle passes through the atmospheric shell at the mouth of the hangar. You note a spot in the hangar that appears to be clear and for where you can possibly land the shuttle. As you and Alma take the shuttle in for a landing, you touch down, and as you are kind of running the landing routines, Alma's looking through. She goes, "Well, life support seems to be. I mean, it's there, but barely."
Enough to hold, or are we at risk of?
Doesn't look like it's. I don't know. I'd have to actually jack in out there, but from here it doesn't.
You mean there's life support in the hangar bay?
That's what it seems like. I'd guess from these readings, possibly even the whole structure, or most of it at least. She kind of frowns at the reading and says, "It doesn't look like it's unstable, so just maybe minimal. It's going to be a little chilly out there."
I think we can handle a bit of cold. And Taylor's going to look to the security team. Until I say otherwise, we're going to be shooting to incapacitate. We don't want to kill anyone that might be innocent or have useful information.
Understood. The security officer who initially indicated that they were in charge turns to the others and says, "Everyone switch weapons to stun." And you hear a chorus of acknowledgements as everybody just starts switching their weapons to stun settings. Vix kind of looks out. Oh, he kind of is looking out and says, "So, who's all going into the creepy station?"
I'll go.
I certainly am.
I would not miss the opportunity.
I think I'm just gonna stay here.
Are you certain?
No, I can't let Vix go in there without me. I mean, he just gets so scared and...
Mr. Vix did not even express the desire to enter.
Well, when you grow up with someone, you know what they're gonna say before they even say it.
He looks at you. He turns to you, Peach, and just so says, "Oh, look at my big sister looking out for me." And he puts his arm around you and says, "You like me? That's so embarrassing for you."
Yeah, I'd like you to be with me through the creepy, terrifying structure.
The love of an older sister.
Because I care. Anyone else?
Alma just sort of looks out there and says, I think I'd like to go out, at least maybe I can tell you something about what this place
Hey,
is.
you could be the best help we have here.
In that case, I will remain behind with the shuttle. Someone should.
Patch, do you have any idea of what this structure could be?
I have never encountered anything quite like this before. However, it does seem familiar somehow.
Abriel kind of glances out and says, I don't think you're going to need me unless... Well, I don't think I'm going to be helpful until after you get back to the shuttle anyway, so... I think I might stick around here with Patch.
It would be wise for individuals to stay behind in case anything should happen to us.
She jerks a thumb over her shoulder and she says, you leave us a couple of them, and then I think we'll be able to hold the shuttle if necessary.
Just give him a stink eye.
Tim's gonna look to you and just be like, "You two, what's your names?"
One of them goes, Zira, and the other says, I'm John.
Zira, John, can you stay here? Keep a lookout.
The two of them look at each other and nod and say, yes, sir. We'll make sure that we've got a way out.
Perfect. Rest of you, we should probably spearhead this just in case anything does attack us on site, and then everyone else you can follow close behind.
Y'all are very brave for following us into this.
You can see that a few of them exchange glances, but for the most part, they just sort of have kind of resolute expressions. A couple of them just sort of, as you're getting ready to walk out, a couple of them just sort of bring visors down, and you can see, like, even from the outside of the helmets, you can see as like tactical displays on the inside of the helmet start sort of activating.
But don't worry, we've led folks through worse. Kind of totally lying. It's a total lie. I feel like this is definitely the worst situation we've been in.
C2 will go through them and be like, you at least are aware of our landing position. You should be able to return should anything happen and should anything go south. There are people waiting here to assist you if need be.
Vix adds to that, says, everybody keep comms open at all times. We'll just keep an open channel just in case anybody gets separated.
And yeah, Tim's gonna, I guess, open the door and lead the way with the security team.
Okay.
Close behind.
So, as the shuttle door opens, you immediately feel the air around you. Just immediately, there's an inrush of chilly air. It's the air. The oxygen actually becomes a little bit thinner, like not to the point where it's any kind of discomfort, more like what you would experience if you were at like high elevation, kind of thin. And as you step out, you can also feel that it seems like this station's gravity isn't the artificial gravity isn't quite at 100%. So as you step out, some of you those of you who aren't particularly used to like spacewalking get that sort of lurch in your stomach as you step out just a little bit. It's not quite nausea, just kind of that sort of lurch a bit as you kind of feel a little bit of disorientation. But you see as several of the security team as they set foot on the platform, you can see several of them just magnetize their boots. So
slowly enter and like obviously keep watch to make sure nothing jumps out from the shadows. But yeah, we're gonna get closer to where we think we can see the exit or entrance to another part of the building.
Okay. You can see the entrance to the hangar kind of opposite where the shuttle came in, and as you all kind of make your way in that direction, Alma walks forward, having basically like she's secured like not like a full like environmental suit or anything like that, but just sort of like an oxygen mask that she's sort of attached. she walks forward and just sort of starts examining the bulkhead around the door to the hangar. She says, "I've never seen anything quite like this before. It's I don't know. It looks ancient."
Do I recognize anything? Any architecture, anything like that?
You know what? I'll tell you what. I am gonna have you make a roll on this one. This is more a roll to determine if Taeyeon has actually. This is sort of like a recall kind of thing more than anything.
Yeah.
Because I think out of all of you, I think CT can make this one too.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah, out of all of you, I think the two of you are the most likely here to have this information. So,
Okay.
this will be an intellect task, and the difficulty on this, I think, is going to be, I think the difficulty on this is going to be, yeah, the difficulty on this is going to be, a 7.
Okay.
Oh boy.
So I have a power shift in intelligence,
Right.
which gives me all knowledge, science, and crafting
Yeah.
tasks. And I guess this is like knowledge.
Yes.
3 level of effort to bring it down to a 5. I'll spend another level of effort to bring it down to a 4.
Mhm.
And I'll roll from.
All or better.
Yeah, I'll roll from there.
Okay. And Remy?
Eye for detail.
Yes. That's gonna, yeah.
Okay, wait.
Nope.
Task involved
No,
inside.
that's not gonna
Damn it!
happen.
Damn it!
I see where
little-
you got how you got there, but no.
Always worth a shot.
Know a little bit about everything.
Yeah, that's gonna help you.
Okay.
Counts as everything.
Do I have anything else? I don't think I do.
3 level of effort.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
only-
no, I don't.
I think I'm gonna spend that a level of effort then.
Okay, so you brought it down to a difficulty 3, and Drac, you brought it down to also a 3?
I've got a
4. Okay.
It was a 4 for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I'm going to spend another level of
Okay.
effort.
So just, yeah.
to
So
bring
it's,
it down
it's,
to a
it's,
3.
it's 9 or better for both of you.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh Christ.
15.
Okay.
18.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
Smart cookies.
So, CT, you've seen not this exact architecture because you've seen it on a different sort of structure entirely, and it was really only one time when you were out serving your capacity as a gatherer. But you've seen this type of structure, not this type of structure, this type of architecture before, or similarities at least. And Taeyeon, when you are from, there have been, while most of your time, most people's time has been spent fighting the war, there have still been efforts to study the past and study history, to learn things about the history of the galaxy. And as you are both starting to sort of pull some of your experience together and note some of the similarities, Taeyeon, you're remembering a particular mission that you went on with to extract a group of researchers who had been caught in the middle of a conflict zone, from a place not unlike this one. And as the two of you are sort of recalling your experiences, you both kind of come to the conclusion around the same time that what you are seeing is a ruin one of the rarest form of ruins, that belonging to the Astrophil. Those who have long been thought to be the original creators of the conduits.
Okay. That does explain a lot.
It certainly does.
I'm just gonna like speak through comms. It seems we're in the ruins of an Astrophil structure. So I
Makes
guess that does
sense.
explain why it explains why he was brought here. Anything to do with conduit most likely would be here rather than anywhere else.
And certainly disconcerting, but I suppose the only thing that we can do is press on.
Who knows what we'll find here.
Alma looks over her shoulder and just... It doesn't look like this door is powered, but it also doesn't look like... She kind of glances over her shoulder and says, Mason, would you mind helping me out here?
Yeah, sure.
And as she reaches for the door, you can see, like, the door itself is not completely shut. There is a gap, like, in between the two halves of the door. As she, like, reaches in and, like, kind of puts her fingers around there, she says, you grab that side. I think we should be able to... She kind of starts... You can see as she starts kind of feeling her way up the inside of the door. She says, I think if I can trip the mechanism here, the manual release mechanism, we might just be able to pull it. She starts kind of feeling along and says, there. Okay. Pull. And the two of you just sort of pull the door open so that there's enough room for... There's enough space for a person to just sort of walk through. She kind of glances in and just sort of reaches into her pouch, pulls out a light, and just sort of clips it onto her shoulder. Okay. So, somebody else want to go first?
Glad.
Volunteer.
The three of us can't go at once.
The three of them try to fit through the one person.
Everybody
hole.
walks, yeah.
Listen, I've got it.
Everyone walks in, but like
I've got a
Taylor's the
magnifying
smallest, so he
glass.
just kind of slips through. Kind of
can
slips
see
between
this.
them.
You just stand there, just
I'm
like, no,
okay
after
not
you.
going
No,
first.
please, after you. No, please,
please.
please, continue. No, I insist, after you. So you slowly, sort of one by one, kind of make your way through. Taeyeon, as you make your way to the other side, you can see that the corridor immediately just sort of goes ahead and just curves immediately to the right. Hold on, give me a second here as I sort of set a couple things up. I actually prepared ahead of time.
Did we?
Stick to the left wall. It'll give us more time if someone's on the inner wall to react, and it kind of like stays onto the inner outer wall of the curving corridor as he goes down the corridor.
Okay. Sorry, Olivia, were you saying something?
Oh, I was gonna say, we saw the shuttle that we followed when we came in, right?
Yeah,
or did we?
yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember. Okay, cool.
Yeah. One or two of the security team probably would have gone directly over to it and kind of glanced inside and confirmed that it was empty.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm gonna keep my antennas up
Yeah.
for.
Can I try and use specifically? I don't know if it works in this space, but I want to try to use premonition to see if I can like see anything about usually it's like a creature or an object, so I kind of want to see if I can find anything with like haze. Like I want to locate haze.
Okay.
It's a random thing though, so you can tell me whatever,
Sure.
but just something random about haze. Like where
Yeah.
it's located.
His favorite number's 4.
Well, not just something about him, but like something pertinent to his location.
Hayes like strawberries on his breakfast.
What's his sign?
That would be the most elaborate way to find out something so arbitrary.
My God, Freeman, we have to come up with a whole other zodiac here. There's not
Right?
astrology.
You're right,
We're not in Kansas anymore. Sorry.
Patreon
You're right,
Writers
you're
Room.
right.
I'm just kidding.
Get
We're
on
not
it.
doing that.
Yeah, I don't want to be conferenced on that one.
That's an Olivia Task.
Yeah,
I was gonna say.
that's kind of like
Same.
exclusively an Olivia Task, I think.
Call Freeman. Freeman's mom.
Fair.
So, yeah. So, Peach, as you sort of reaching out, trying to determine anything about Hayes and his location, you kind of reach out.
Kind of weird. It's tracing kind of like the tremors of like
Yeah.
the reality that he's created. It's
Yeah. And as you do that, you're seeing flashes of Hayes walking through similar corridors to this. Just sort of very quick, difficult to pick anything up. You can see at one point him walking side by side with Galt, who is sort of like antsy, just sort of glancing around. And then you see there's at one point you can see that you can see Hayes walking through these corridors. You can see Galt next to him, who's sort of like walking backwards next to Hayes, like with that sort of intense look on his face that he got on the station when he was sort of watching the miners. And very vaguely, you can see other forms walking along with them. Can't quite make them out. They're just a little bit...
like humanoid forms.
Mm-hmm. Can't quite make them out. They're just a little bit too far outside of your kind of visual capacity, but then you just see another flash of the two of them standing in sort of a large dome-shaped room, looking out into the darkness. And the thing that catches your attention is that Galt is just sort of has his eyes upwards, where Hayes, no expression, is just sort of staring outwards. And you see, as your premonition flashes forward just another moment, you see just Hayes. Only Hayes, standing in the exact same spot. Galt nowhere to be seen. You have a fair idea the path to trace that you watched them walk through here.
Tan, can I come up? Is Tan in front?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Peach is gonna kind of move to the front with Tan and say, I think I can point us to where Hayes went, but I was tracing the path and it seems like he went with a lot of other people, not just or creatures. I don't know, I couldn't quite make them out, but then I saw Hayes just standing there alone. So those creatures must have gone somewhere.
And Galt must have as well.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the heads up. You lead the way, I will stick close by just in case.
Okay. Sure thing. And yeah, Peach will just lead the way with you. Probably it's funny because you have the gun and she probably doesn't have any weapon drawn and she's just walking next to you.
Alright. So,
and she would have said that so everybody could hear it.
Right. You make your way forwards, tracing through with Peach's direction, tracing the way through this place, which is good because it doesn't seem to be built or organized in any way that makes sense to you, to any of you. It's not quite labyrinthine, but it does feel like it was designed with an entirely different psychology. And as you're kind of walking through it, there are points where you reach intersections in the corridors. As Peach, you kind of look to either side and glance down one side and that way, and you all kind of walk. Before too long, you find yourselves at sort of a large kind of a large double door that sort of blocks the passage forward. And as you approach, Peach, you kind of you feel, actually, Mason, Peach, and Taeyeon, you feel something like, you feel kind of like the hairs on the back of your neck standing up. You feel eyes on you. It's hard to really pin down as you kind of focus on it for a moment. You glance around. You see the security team sort of making kind of a perimeter around. As you reach this door, they sort of move kind of to sort of block the way back and sort of face outward. You all feel a presence.
Do you recognize it?
It
Like, is it?
It feels. Well. Yes, is the answer to this. And as you're standing there, kind of recognizing this, the three of you begin hearing whispers. Can't quite make out what they're saying. Every time you focus in, you lose it. But they're definitely there. And as you're looking around...
Try not to listen too hard.
Alma straightens up. She says, I hear them too.
You're kind of like,
Yeah,
looking, like looking back and forth. Like,
It's the artifact. Do you not hear them?
I am not aware of any extra input at this time.
Bina, can you feel in there?
and she'll like kind of reach out and just kind of see if she feels any other presences near us.
You feel those around you, the security team, your crew. No, you're not feeling anything. But Peach, one thing you're fairly certain of is that you're not far. You're not far from where you saw Galt just sort of stand.
Because to be this close to hear it, we'd have to be really close.
Yeah. Alma just sort of shudders and shrugs it off and says, "Okay, give me a second." And she says, "Bina, could you remove that panel right there?" Yeah. You.
Before you do anything, how much noise would it make if you open it properly?
Alma looks up and says, "Honestly, I have no idea."
Do you mind if I try something instead?
Yeah, sure.
And I would like to, so I want to like kind of holsters his gun just for this moment, shakes his hand and he places it on the door, and I would like to use dust to dust.
Ooh.
What?
So the basic.
What's a door?
So I'll use it multiple times if I need to because it has a requirement. So you disintegrate one object that is smaller than you and whose level is less than or equal to your tier. You must touch the object to affect it. If the GM feels it's appropriate into the circumstances, you can disintegrate a portion of the object. The total volume has to be smaller than you, rather than the entire thing. So I would like to, if I have to do it twice or 3 times, I'll do it.
Sure.
But I want to like disintegrate to make like a passage that we can go through.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You can totally do that.
And kind of like he
opened the door.
He kind of remembers when he was practicing teleportation and accidentally like degraded the track that he was like teleporting around, and kind of remembers that energy and then forces it into the section of the door to age it.
Yeah, all of you watch as the door, this door that is ancient beyond memory, that has been here for longer than any of you can even really comprehend, you watch as a single spot just out from where Taeon has his hands just starts rusting outwards from Taeon's hands, and as it does, you can see the decay sort of kind of following outwards, just at first rust, and then you can see as that rust turns to just sort of brittle metallic structures, and then you can see sort of that the superstructure of the door itself. And as this happens, as this kind of continues spreading outwards in just sort of a small radius around kind of where Tan has his hands, sort of continually moving his hands across the surface of this, you watch as eventually all of the places where Taeon, like from every place where Taeon put his hands sort of outwards, from every point, you can see that the door just completely disintegrates, eventually forming a sort of small hole in this ancient door, big enough for y'all to sort of crouch through.
Should that be enough?
Most exemplary.
Okay, I'll go in first. I'm just gonna like go in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know you could make other objects travel through time.
It was an accident when I first did it, so neither did I.
Brace yourself, everybody.
As you step through, you find yourself in a short stretch of corridor. Ahead of you, probably another like maybe 40 or 50 feet ahead of you, you can see where there's another door. This one stands partially open, but what draws your attention in this stretch of corridor is a sort of a heap on the floor, about just a few paces away from the door that you just sort of disintegrated your way through. And as you walk up to it, Taeon, immediately, like as you're approaching, you see the movement start right before you approach, and you sort of reflexively jump back as like a weapon turns, like you can see the flash of a weapon turn towards you, and you can see Galt just there. He's stay back.
You're really not looking so good.
He looks at you and says, shouldn't have come after us. You can see as you're looking at him, he is in really bad shape. There doesn't appear to be physically injured, but there's something about his look. He looks much paler than usual, and you can see almost like these kind of blackened veins around his neck, sort of that are starting to reach up. As he looks at you, Taeon's just sort of struggling to focus.
I'm gonna have like two. I'm gonna ask all of the security members' names, by the way. So I want two others to come over and like, what are the names? Just give me random names. I want to be able to name all of them. I got a list going already.
All right.
Everyone likes to know the names of everyone he's working with, at least when it's comes to
absolutely. So sorry, how many did you call over? Just two? Okay. So there's a Keldrone named Zemak, and a Nelfin named Cythril. And the two of them sort of walk forward and kind of sort of slowly approach Galt and kind of put their like arms under his arms and kind of lift as he just sort of kind of weakly, he's basically dead weight at this point. He's not able to really hold himself up as he just sort of looks at all of you and says, the old man's...
What happened?
The old man's lost his mind. I don't know why he brought us here.
We've already reached such conclusions.
He's just standing there, just looking.
Where is he standing?
He kind of weakly raises a hand, which, as you can see, is shaking. And also,
How did you-
he like points in the direction of the door. Says, over there.
How did you get away?
Mm,
You just left?
tried.
I don't explain what's happening to you right now. Why get bitten? Eat something? What's going on?
He kind of like, you can see as he's kind of like blinking away the sort of like
Hurts in the
he's
head?
blinking away unconsciousness at this point. You can tell, and he's just like fighting it, and he
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna place my. I mean, he's taller, so I probably can't
Yeah.
place it on his face. I'm gonna place on his chest and use repair flesh to just like bump him up a bit. For PCs, it adds like a 2 to the recovery
Sure.
roll, but for this, I'm just gonna. Yeah, I think it just adds a 2.
You can see as some of
to
those
stats in
like
general.
black veins sort of like recede just a little bit, as he just sort of
I don't know how much it's gonna help. Rebound whatever was going on for a bit. But what is going on?
I don't know. Old man, he's lost it. He's just standing out there, not saying a word.
Did he say anything on the way in?
Just said that we had a delivery to make, and not alone here.
Who or what is in this facility as well?
You see as he kind of frowns, and then his eyes just go wide. He says, "Don't know what that thing is, but I need out. I need to go. And if you're smart, we'll all go together. Leave him behind. He's gone."
We're not quite here for just him.
And Mr. Galt, you do not make the calls, especially in the condition that you are currently in.
And as he coughs, you can see like the sort of veins very slowly starting to spread. He says, "Don't think this is quite the mission I signed up for." And you can see as his eyes sort of roll back into his head, and he just slumps. And the two who are holding him just kind of stagger under his sudden like weight.
Zemok, Cicero, let him down. I'll send him back. And
Yeah.
I'm just using my abilities all over the place. I'm going to use Time Loop to pull another version of myself in, and then use that version of myself to teleport him to the ship.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You.
I'll spend all of
Yeah,
that.
you do so. Much to the shock of several of the security team, as you do this, Vix just goes, "Maybe we should wait a few seconds."
Don't worry. I will disappear for like in about 6 seconds, but then I'll come back.
Like
Just
you don't even
hold
finish
on.
the sentence, and you just
You go.
Other Taeon finishes the sentence.
Yes. I'll come back on. Okay, we're here. Okay, we're back.
Are there any pro tips for our friend being able to kind of like point at our security detail, like who haven't encountered what we're gonna encounter, possibly?
I mean,
Should they wait outside of the radius of influence of the potential item that we are seeking within the doors?
If possible, yes, but what is the radius? I don't think we even know what exactly the radius of it is.
I mean,
Certain being
has
within
to-
the room.
it has to be. You have to be pretty close. We just started to hear the whispers, and we don't want anyone forced to act against their will.
Okay. Everyone stay outside of the room if you can. If you can fire inside, do. If you can't, it's okay. We will do what we can. Again, all shots to incapacitate. It seems like most people here aren't under their own control.
They nod and say, "Yes, sir. Understood." And you see a couple of them. They start basically like setting up like positions outside of the next door, basically, like just sort of setting up. Taeyeon and Mason would immediately recognize this as like a breaching formation, and yeah, they're basically just sort of setting up.
Stack up.
Yeah. Vic.
It-
Oh yeah.
Oh god, I was just gonna start talking, but I fixed him to say something.
No, Vix just sort of is kind of like looking, like trying to see through the gap in the door, but he just says, I think maybe it's dark in there, but I think I might maybe see him. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
We'll come up next to him and kind of be like, use your brain, not your eyes. And she'll kind of like try to feel in to see if she can sense anyone's in there.
And Vix just sort of, okay, yeah, so,
Yeah, I'm gonna...
Bina, you can just at the edge of your awareness sense a presence that you recognize as Hayes, but it's very, very muted. And it feels like you'd almost be tempted to say that he feels unconscious, but
he's being suppressed.
Maybe.
Sort of, kind of, yeah.
I'm gonna kind of turn to everybody, like our direct crew, and just say, this creature, it targets the mind. So before we go in there, I mean, bracing yourself is I don't think it really calls to mind what you need to be doing. You're gonna have to resist its influence. It's really, really difficult, but we all should picture something that really matters to us, something above anything else, something that can help us resist this influence. I mean,
I want to keep.
That's what I did with Vix when he was out of his head, and that worked okay. I know this is a different situation, but it could maybe still work.
I'm gonna turn to Peach and just kind of like, not even turn to Peach, just like be near Peach, and I'm gonna like grab onto your elbow for a second, and then your senses get really, really sharp and clear for a second, and I'm gonna give you stimulate.
Ooh,
before we
what
go
do again?
You reduce the difficulty of your next action by 3 steps.
Oh, that's a nice one.
I'll give you a quick boost before we go in.
That's pretty good. Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Expensive, but it's one of my favorites.
Thanks, Bina.
And everyone, if you can, every 2 minutes should be enough. Just say something in comms to let us know that you are still you. To just keep it a pattern, so we know. If anyone goes quiet, we know that something happened at the very least.
Yes.
Sounds good.
all right.
I think we'll know.
Alma just sort of reaches out, Bina, and just grabs your hand.
Yeah, I meet her halfway.
Yeah, she's not looking at you. She's just sort of watching the door. And Vix just says, "Well, here we go, I guess."
Here we go.
So, as y'all step towards the door itself, which is mostly like it's probably a gap, probably about maybe just 2.5 feet wide. As the group of you approach, the door opens wider.
Of course.
As y'all step inside, you find yourselves in a massive dome-shaped room. Around you, there is sort of around the room, the outside of it, seems to be sort of a catwalk or a walkway that runs around the length of, or the whole circumference of the room. You can see other passages similar to the one that you just came out of, leading off of this one, in multiple directions. Out towards the center of the room, it's kind of too dark to really see much out there. But as you are, as you're looking through the room, you can see. I should say it's not too dark to see out towards the middle. It's more that it goes out and kind of down, and that's where it kind of becomes difficult, because at that point, any of the kind of sort of low lights that sort of round the interior of the room are sort of not quite reaching. The same above you. It's dark beyond just sort of like the immediate 10 feet within where you're kind of walking. But nearby, just a little ways down the walkway, you can see what Vix saw. The figure of Calwin Hayes, much like you saw him in your premonition, Peach, just standing, staring off into nothing. Only this time you can tell that he is holding in front of him the artifact, just holding it out. And it's much larger than it was the last time you saw it, where before you'd seen it, it was probably about this size. Now he's holding it aloft as if it's the size of a beach ball, just kind of holding it out in front of him. This is something that y'all have witnessed before. You've seen the artifact at the base sort of seem to look different every time you saw it. Its size sort of differing every time. And as you kind of step in, he does not react to you at all.
All out Mr. Hayes. Just very
Yeah.
plainly.
He doesn't react, not even a little bit.
Still in there, but he's not aware.
B.
Bina, you very suddenly, like you don't feel it approaching, you just very suddenly feel a presence behind your group.
I twirl around very quickly.
And as you turn, and those of you who are there following Bina's gaze, you see standing behind you Damian Ellis. He looks at all of you and says, "Well, I can't say I'm surprised to see you here. But I wish for your sake that you hadn't come."
You were not who I was expecting to see.
Hello, not Damian Elias.
I very much am Damian Ellis. At least, what's left of him. And as you look a little bit closer, you can see that what you took for just sort of the shadows of the room sort of obscuring parts of his face, you realize now that as you look at his eyes, it's not shadows that are making it difficult to see his eyes, but they themselves are completely black. The center of the eye, at the center of the eye, there is a pinpoint, like looking at a distant star. It's like looking into space itself, looking into dark space and seeing the last star on the edge of dark space. And as he looks at all of you, his head just sort of tilts. I told you to stay away.
I am afraid, Mr. Ellis, but your influence does not extend to this specific instance of dealing with artifacts.
His head just sort of snaps in your direction, CT. Just says, "I've seen you, but I do not know you.
And we shall keep it that way. I am here to stop Mr. Calwin Hayes from doing anything extreme, and you and your visage shall not keep us from achieving that goal.
Mr. Hayes is no longer with us. You came seeking, and you found, but not what you are looking for.
Yes, I am searching, but it seems that this is a dead end. But I shall still see this through, because it affects the lives of many creatures beyond just that of Mr. Hayes itself.
In that, we agree. And he walks towards you, and then just sort of past you, in kind of in the direction of Hayes. And as
I want to stop him. I want to sound like
I
I want
wanna-
to stop him from moving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to. Okay, go ahead. I also wanted to
what
do
are
something
you
to Hayes,
what are you
but
what are you
this
doing,
is better.
Taeyeon?
I want to shoot him in the kneecaps. Like I want to stop him from moving.
Okay.
Shoots
Classic.
incapacitate, right?
Come full circle here.
Classic kneecaps.
I'm not gonna bother making
Yeah.
you roll on this because I know that you'll be able to do it. So you fire and catch him in the kneecap, and he immediately stumbles and goes down to one knee. And just sort of catches himself looking down, and then just. And then you see as he just sort of slowly lifts his head up, and you can see that he's smiling. And as he smiles, the smile gets wider and wider and wider and wider until it is now just sort of splitting his face open as he just sort of looks at you, a smile that's far too wide. And then he's just not there.
Wait, what? He
He's
disappears?
just not there.
I want to reach out and like try to put Hayes to sleep. Like I want him to fall to the ground. I don't want him holding up the stupid artifacts.
Sure, yeah. You reach out and you can see Hayes' eyes close, but he doesn't fall. If anything, you can see it almost looks like he's being held up by the artifact.
By the artifact. Holy shit.
And then suddenly you can see that the light in the room starts getting slightly brighter and brighter, and then you hear kind of a as another bank of lights a little higher up the wall lights, and another and higher, and as the lights start lighting up the room, you become aware that up above you, just outside of where the darkness began, there are hundreds of people floating suspended in the air above you. And as you look at them, you notice them, you see their eyes open, revealing kind of that deep green glow as they all sort of, none of them looking at you, just hanging suspended in the air. And as you see this, you start noticing more movement in the center of the room, as coalescing in the center of the room, a formless shape, like millions of particles forming, moving almost like liquid, with tiny drops that sort of go off float off to one side and then returning to and reabsorbing into the main body of this thing. And as it begins to move, it's constantly reshaping itself, always in motion, never reaching any particular form. And as you are looking at it, you can see that it just, every time it seems to resolve into a shape, it changes again and becomes formless. And that's when all of the voices of all of the people in the room speak at once.
It was your mistake to come here. But we welcome you. We are figured. We have been watching you.
What did it say it was? We are
Figment.
Figment.
Thought so. That sucks.
Yeah.
Does that ring a bell, that name?
Doesn't mean anything to any of you.
We sought out the Ellis. We saw what he saw. We know you through him.
What are you seeking? What do you achieve? What do you seek to accomplish in this space?
We are a creature of silence, of the dark, and yet we are aware. Awareness is agony. It must end.
This is definitely out of my ballpark.
That's not its decision to make. That's what all those voices were.
Peach, do you think you can create that container again and
Yeah.
grab that artifact?
That's what I was thinking. Can I know it's a lot bigger now, but technically I can make something that's like as big as me. So could I again kind of bring a big kind of giant like metal suitcase basically around it? It's not it's unwieldy, but
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna need a roll from you.
yeah. Mhm.
This is a roll. The difficulty of which is the difficulty on this roll is gonna be 10.
Okay.
I knew it.
Okay.
I fucking knew it.
So I have Dreamcraft. I have I'm trained in that, and then
You still
Yeah,
stimulated.
so
you're
it's
still
already down to 7.
I have-
It's
I
down to
simulated.
7. So
Oh, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
you have what was it? Dreamcraft?
Okay, so I have training in Dreamcraft, and then I also have a power shift, specifically in that ability.
Right. So you're
Um,
down now to a 5? Yeah, 5. Okay.
Let's see. And then free level of effort would bring it down to 4, and then I'm gonna spend I feel like I should just spend it all to do this because it's so terrible.
Up to you.
So So yeah, I'm gonna spend 4 levels of effort just to do
Okay.
it.
Sounds good. He brings it down to a 0. Are you gonna roll?
Roll.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna roll. Oh shit! Hold on. No, that went too far. Wait.
They're just dropping.
Wait, I saw it though. It's an 18.
Okay.
It was a good roll, so I'm taking it. Okay.
All right.
No, I mean I still see it. It just
Yeah.
fell. But
Okay. So, Peach,
it's a dramatic
as
roll.
you reach out for that artifact, you reach out, and for some reason, you're... Actually, you know what? Tell you what. I'm going to offer you a GM intrusion. You succeeded. You brought a 10 down to 0. That's a success. But I am going to offer you a GM
Okay.
intrusion.
I mean, I'll take
Okay.
it.
So go ahead and take an XP and give that one to, give the other one to whoever you like.
I'm gonna give it to Bina because of the stimulate, which really came in clutch here.
Cool. As you reach out, this being the first time that you've kind of really reached out for your abilities since the premonition, this close in proximity to whatever Figment is, you find that your grasp on them is not what you expected. It is at once not what you were trying to do. It behaves erratically, but also you can feel the power in it beyond what you were put into it. And as you reach out, very suddenly, it's like trying to move after having had an enormous weight pulling you back, and then suddenly having that weight lifted. You reach out, and instead of what you intended to create that sort of suitcase like you did before, instead just a huge sort of purple black hand reaches out from your hand towards the artifact and just sort of encompasses the whole thing and begins to pull. And immediately, like, as you pull, it starts moving, and Hayes' hands drop from it, and then he drops. And as the artifact starts pulling towards you, you just hear... and as it's coming towards you, it stops, and you feel yourself in a contest of wills with this creature. Both of you forcing the artifact, pulling on the artifact. And then suddenly, Peach, as you pull and exert your force over this artifact, the full power that you've only once ever experienced before, pulling at this artifact, contesting the will of this collective creature, you feel the artifact give. There's a moment as everything around you, all of you, just stops. And Taeon, you see something that you haven't seen since you were a child. You hear the whispers flare up all around you. All of you hear them this time. And suddenly, with an earth-shattering crack, you watch as the artifact shatters. There is a shockwave that goes out from it as all of you sort of stumble back. Figment vanishes. The body's still hanging suspended in the air above you. You watch Peach as that enormous hand that is connected to your own just torn apart like a dust cloud. And in the place where the artifact was, you see a coil of dark, vine-like energy that sort of begins to stretch outwards from it and starts to sort of spread in the air where it is. And Taeon, your stomach drops out, because what you're seeing is that same anomaly that you and Ada detected and saw. You see the anomaly before you, much, much smaller. And just as you're seeing this happen, it spreads out, and you can see as some of the tendrils spread upwards, touching some of the bodies, that are suspended, and some of them just sort of they just instantly kind of emaciate and just turn to nothing. And it kind of spreads out, and as it does, it reaches a point where it slows, and then it all just pulls back in, rushes back in to the point where the artifact shattered, and it's gone.
And kind of like lets his gun drop to his side. That's why Ada and I are here. That's the anomaly.
Does that mean we just that we just made it, or we just had a connection with it, or what does that mean?
I think it means we just made it.
Wait, so did it get swallowed up by the by the remnants, or is it the anomaly
It's
still
gone.
here in front of
It's
us?
gone.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
It's we created it. It's most likely moved to another time to eat and grow.
At this point, you hear a thump from further down the catwalk, and as you turn, you can see where one of the bodies fell. And then thump closer.
Okay, I'm gonna start.
Thump,
Tim kind of like
thump.
snaps out of him and starts trying to teleport, catch as many people as he can.
And CT is running to try to grab Hayes out of whatever fucking center he collapsed
Yeah.
in.
You see one of the bodies that Tan didn't manage to catch. You see as it just sort of the eyes sort of glowing green, sort of stands, and you can see as the warped stands up. CT,
We need to get out of
you
here.
reach Hayes and you sort of start dragging him, and you see his eyes open, glowing fully green. As he looks at you, for a moment, you almost feel like you see recognition, and then his arm shoots out towards you. Trying and failing to find purchase on you, thump, thump, thump. Bodies from several of the bodies they're holding up just start standing up and looking in the direction of your group. Vix just sort of looks around and says, I think it's time to go.
Yeah.
You said that Hayes was standing at the side of a drop off.
Mhm.
Yes. The CT is gonna kick him off of it.
Yeah, as basically he stands, having failed to grab hold of you, stands facing you, just you just sort of look at him and just kick. He stumbles back and just goes fully over the railing and falls into darkness. Vix just says, "Let's go."
Is there any there's nothing remaining of the artifact? Like there's no
Doesn't appear to be.
nothing, no fragments or anything. Okay.
All right.
Let's get out of here.
Running.
Yeah.
We run.
Yeah, as you turn
Yeah.
and rush back for the door. As you rush back, you just hear, glancing back over your shoulder, you don't see Figment, but that lingering presence remains for an instant and then is just gone, as if it was never there.
Mason's just running. It's like, not likely, with like a half-smoked cigarette hanging out the side of his mouth.
Yeah.
I am still holding Alma's hand,
Yeah.
by the way. I have not
Oh
let go
yes,
this
no,
entire
she has
time.
not let go either.
Not a chance.
Yeah, you rush back through the door where the team is waiting. The security team is waiting. Say, covering fire, everybody, move back. And as you all rush past, they sort of fall in behind. covering, as behind you you can see the warped rushing the door. You reach the disintegrated door and sort of start like crawling through.
I'm gonna wait for everyone else to go through, including the security.
Okay. Yeah.
Team.
So yeah, they all start kind of piling through. Mason or Taeon, anybody else staying kind of holding
CT is staying
Okay.
behind also.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay near the door, but on the other side
Okay,
of it.
sounds
Mhm.
good.
So there's less of us that need to move through, but I want to
Yeah,
stay near
yeah.
the door.
So Taeon just sort of firing off shots at as the warped come closer, and just sort of many of them just kind of falling to all of this.
How many warps are there?
Hundreds.
Hundreds.
Okay, I would like to use a Cypher I've been holding on
Okay.
to for a very long time.
All right.
I want to use, where is it? The flame grenade
Mhm.
that I kept since the Mothman. I think it was the Mothman
Yeah.
episode.
The play
Yeah.
episode, perhaps.
The play episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what it actually does is I just throw this grenade and it's a spawn detonation. So when I throw it, it bursts into a spawn of 1d6 additional detonations. And for the next round, each additional detonation flies to a random spot within short range of the explosion and explodes in the immediate range
Amazing.
of that explosion.
All right. So
Chain-
yeah, go
chain
ahead.
fire.
Go ahead and and roll that d6 for me here.
It's way more exciting.
6. I rolled max.
Yeah. So you watch as like the grenade sort of clatters into their midst as they start like kind of piling through the door, and you watch as very suddenly the kind of the air around the grenades just sort of warps a little bit, like heat distortion, and then there's just sort of like a column of flame that just sort of rises from it, and then suddenly several smaller ones just sort of around, just sort of keep it like taking up several of the warped, and as they move towards you, like you can hear them just sort of giving just sort of inhuman screams as they are consumed by the flames. It buys you plenty of time to get everybody through the hole in the door that you disrupted. And as the two of you make your way through, kind of piling through, the security team has already moved on ahead and is now sort of like securing corners, basically. You don't, on the plus side, you don't seem to be hearing warped coming from any other direction. It seems like they were all in
from
that room. That said, as you're running, Mason, you glance back at one point and you see the first of the warped reaching that the hole in the door and trying to pile through. It's luckily not a large breach, so they're like pushing themselves through. You can see where several of them, their limbs are tearing as they're pushing themselves through, as they're catching on the door and like on the like ragged edges of that door, tearing limbs completely as they're pushing through. Yes, Caitlin.
As soon as everyone had gotten through, I wanted to try to. Venus was gonna try to like do like a flash distraction thing, but what ends up is I do have an ability called flash that you create an explosion of energy at a point within short range, affecting an area up to immediate range from that point. Must be able to see where you intend to center, blah, blah, blah. Blast inflicts 2 points of damage to all creatures and objects within the area. Adding effort deals an additional 2 points of damage to each target. Even if you fail a roll, all targets in the area still take 1 point of damage. Just to kind of like scatter for a second to give us more time through the small door. That was kind of like just to...
Yeah. I'm not gonna make you roll because the difficulty, like
Okay.
these guys, I'll just tell you right now, these guys are level 2. You're not gonna need to roll on this. So like,
Just she wants
yeah,
to whoosh and then
yeah,
run.
you just sort of drop that
Flashbang,
that flashbang. You see as several of them just sort of get from the impact, just sort of get like sort of stumble, and several of them like sort of rushing towards you or trying to, but sort of running into each other and like the walls in some cases. They are thoroughly disoriented as y'all continue to run through the passages. Peach sort of directing you, as this is sort of a difficult place to maneuver.
Hard left.
Yeah. before too long, you find yourselves piling into the hangar bay as Vix just sort of opens his comms and says, Patch, you better have that engine running right now. And you just hear the response.
The engine has been running since you left. We are ready to go.
Then let's
call.
go.
Y'all rush forward, reaching the shuttle just as the warp start piling into the hangar bay, just sort of spreading out like water through the hangar. And as you kind of begin piling into that shuttle, the last of the security team is just pulling in as the shuttle is lifting off, and one of the warp grabs the security member and just starts pulling them down.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm going to jump and slap this warped and use exile to just exile it out.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh my God.
So yeah, Tan, you just like rush forward, tap the warped, who just vanishes. Yes, Remy.
Oh, he was fast.
Can I double team?
Yeah, go for it.
And I'm gonna grab that person and far step into the like the entrance to the shuttle.
Perfect.
Sick.
So as Tan runs forward, banishes the warped, CT rushes forward and grabs the security team member who's just sort of like holding on to like the edge of the loading ramp. You just grab his hands and just back inside. CT suddenly appearing like inside like the main hold of the shuttle as the door to the shuttle at this point just sort of closes. And the shuttle takes off, leaving the facility behind.
Z-Mark, are you okay? I'm gonna say that Z-Mark is the one that
Yeah.
grabbed. Z-Mark, you okay?
Yeah. Thanks.
Are all of us in operational condition?
Few like the affirmative starts kind of ringing around. Just here. You just hear. Shuttle. This is the Bellerophon. Respond.
We're here.
Good. We've been trying to reach you for the last 5 minutes. Haven't been able to get through. Everything okay down there? We noticed a sudden surge of power from the facility.
We're all safely back on the shuttle.
Should we prepare for a fast getaway?
Yeah, I think the sooner we're out of here, the better.
Understood. Setting to jump as soon as you're aboard.
I'm gonna go and find Galt.
Yeah.
Teleported him here,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah, Galt is still like fully unconscious. Yeah, he's just fully unconscious. So actually, what we're gonna do is we're just going to cut a little bit ahead. As the shuttle has returned to the Bellerophon and the Bellerophon has jumped back to FTL, making its way back towards the nearest conduit. Y'all have finally, after kind of all of the aftermath of everything, finally have just sort of a moment. I'll say for the sake of this that you are kind of back in your quarters.
Didn't think that would be. I'll be honest, I did think the anomaly would be linked to Olivia in some way. Didn't expect it to be us actually creating it.
Alma frowns and says, I'm not entirely sure we did.
I think it could have just been a small example, a small possibility. We stopped it before it grew.
I felt that thing, whatever that anomaly was, I felt it when it filled the room. It was and then it just wasn't there anymore.
Did it burn itself out or did it go somewhere?
I think it uncreated.
It saw a weakness within the artifact that we had located and decided that probably there were better ventures elsewhere where its existence was not threatened by people that could do something about it.
Oh no, it just broke.
It does not appear as though the artifact is the only, forgive the verbiage, but conduit through which it is able to communicate, it seems. Or at least the one that we have located.
What makes you say that?
It spoke as though it was greater than itself, that its simple existence as whatever object was uncovered at the asteroid was not its full potential, so to speak.
That is disturbing, to say the least.
It said it wanted to end awareness? Its own or all?
All. I think it meant all.
Mm-hmm.
It's in pain. And it's lashing out.
I didn't feel any sort of like emotion from it, did I, when
Nope.
we were in there? Yeah, I didn't think so, because I usually get void from from things revolving the artifact.
But I don't think it's pain in the way that we experience it.
Pain is very subjective in that, yes, it can be experienced in a myriad of ways. Longing and loneliness and existence outside of what every other creature within the known galaxy is able to exhibit. That would be a pain to something of a creature of that caliber.
Vix is sort of sitting on the like in a chair, sort of arms kind of dangling between his knees. He just sort of looks up and just says, "Peach, you said something you said a while back. Something about a war for consciousness itself. Is this it?"
Yes. Yes, it is.
Shit, we've got a hell of a fight against us.
Bigger than just corporate property. This is existence as we know it, right? That's
Something that threatens life throughout the entire known galaxy that we inhabit.
probably further. If this thing is as powerful as it seems.
Okay.
Everything that's powerful, it has to have some weakness or some way to understand it so that we can fight it.
Patch turns to you, CT.
It's happening again, isn't it?
I regret to admit to that fact. However, the signs are aligned with what is known, and so I am unable to contest such an assessment.
And
Patch, we spoke once and you said that if the situation became dire enough, you would consider taking me or us to the Voxora homeworld to learn more about this exact thing. Would you say the situation is dire enough
I believe, at the very least, that Voxora High Command should know. And as we are currently the only ones who know, who are willing to share the information.
They don't finish the sentence, but they just sort of, you can see as their sort of kind of monocular iris just sort of focuses on you, CT.
This is a question that has threatened the Voxora existence for a very long time. And we are few creatures within the known galaxy that are able to recall something of a similar event. It is probably time that creatures beyond just our realm of influence are aware of something of a similar matter. But it threatens a lot about what the Voxora have sought throughout many years, throughout the galaxy that we have inhabited for so very long.
Threatens your survival.
Yes. We are the rare few creatures that are gifted with a longevity to be able to know of such an event, and it is, forgive me for saying, but it is difficult to feel comfortable in sharing that with a multitude of people so candidly.
Alma stands up and just starts kind of walking towards the door. Abriel just sort of looks over and says, "Where are you going?" "Well, if we're going, somebody needs to tell Jade and Ada and Cade to prepare Awakener."
So
What
you propose to make a journey.
I don't see a lot of other options. I mean, if that thing was behind Ellis this whole time, then it's been behind almost everything Silverbreak has done, including us.
I cannot disagree with such an assessment that might be the correct course of action for something such as this.
Peach, you helped me find my memories before.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time for you to help me find a specific one.
Okay.
We need to figure out where that prime conduit is. The one that Silverbreak made.
I think you're right. And you're ready?
I don't have a choice. None of us do.
Peach is gonna kind of place a hand on Alma's shoulder.
Vix just leans back in the chair and just sort of slumps down in it. He says, "Well, can't say this is anything that factored into my 5-year plan. Whatever, I'm in."
You didn't make a 5-year plan.
I was in the process of it.
Certainly that seems inconsistent with your current
Okay,
thought
I am not on
process
trial
towards-
here.
I shall abstain.
You hear communication come over the PA.
This is the captain. We'll be reaching the conduit shortly. We'll be making the jump back to Sulan shortly thereafter.
Gabriel, we have to see what was wrong with Galt.
Yeah, some kind of toxin. Haven't been able to identify it, but seems like we've been able to mitigate it somewhat. He'll recover. Not sure what its source was either.
Very curious that none of us experienced the same kind of toxin while we were investigating the artifact. However, that can be left for another date.
Gabriel nods. I agree. For now, all of you need to get rest. I'm serious.
Right after I check to make sure everybody's still themselves.
Agreed, I shall be accompanying you, Miss Peach, on such an activity.
I swear if you take more than an hour, I will sedate you myself.
Okay, but I have to see all of you guys first. You do know that, right? And I basically just want to do I want to do like mind reading to make sure nobody's mind is like all like fucked up from them. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you proceed to kind of do your sweep, and you find nothing abnormal in anyone. Everything seems to track.
Okay.
Yes, Caitlin.
This doesn't necessarily need to be a scene, but I think Bina would want to peek in on our recovered friend.
Yeah.
I think they're just in someone's room right now.
Yeah. They haven't recovered. But yes.
I just wanted to see like how are they, like, is there any awareness? Because I can't.
No, there does not seem to be.
Read Voxora emotion.
There doesn't seem to be any kind of.
Is there anyone? Does it seem unconscious? Is there anyone in there?
They are. You can tell that they are still alive.
Okay, cool.
What state they're in? Nobody is gonna be able to figure that out except for the Voxora themselves.
Yeah. I just wanted to. We hadn't seen them in a while. It was a bit of a day, but I think Bina would just like peek her head in the door and just kind of like take a second and be like, okay, well, one win today. Those are still there.
Hey, would have been peeking out the door as well, like kind of like Scooby-Doo style, like just above, just above Bina.
Bina will just be like, they're there. They're in there.
As you all kind of turn to sort of take your rest as the Bellerophon returns to Sulan, Bina, you as you're making your way over towards your room, Alma stops you, and she just says,
"You okay?" Yeah.
Do you mind if I don't really want to. Not after that. I don't want to be by myself.
That's okay. We don't have to. And I'll grab her hand and we go to sleep.
Okay. And I think that's where we're gonna stop.
Yeah.
Stuff from the game. I love it.
We needed something to calm us all down.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Oh,
Fucking episode.
wow.
Oh my god, it fucking exploded, guys. What the
I knew it. I'll be honest. I knew for a fact it was gonna end like that because the moment you're like you're in a structure that like no one really understands, very ancient, like the structure that Taeyeon like.
That's what I
around and goes tied in. That's why I was like, do I recognize anything here?
I was so hoping you would.
Yeah. So the Void Doraga, much like all the other Doraga, brought to you by Patreon Writers Room.
They will haunt my nightmares. Thanks, guys.
I knew about them, and as soon as we were going into the Tatters, I was like, Void Doraga, we're good.
That was scary.
We basically described
Peach has good nightmare
We basically
fuel
described
now.
them as space piranhas. So like
Yes. But the size of whales.
No, I was actually the whole scene. The whole thing in the void. I just felt like I was in a submarine deep under the ocean. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
I did post in the Infinite Horizon channel just like a corner of a screenshot of our like fake map that we've been using. It's not fully done yet, but you can kind of see we edited the Tatters, and I think they look so
Yeah.
scary.
Mhm.
So you can check that out on our in the Discord. So get in the Discord if you're not.
Get in the Discord.
Get in the Discord. Is this like our version? Is
Get
this like
in
our
the
version of
Discord.
Bread and Me Mulligans? Get in the comments. Like this is get in the Discord.
Watch Alpha.
Yeah. So I know, rip Alpha.
Yeah, rip Alpha.
Oh, rest in peace.
So I think because we went very late, we're not gonna bother with like the usual slew of after announcements. But everybody seriously get in the Discord. That will get all kinds of announcements in there about everything that's coming up. We will see you hopefully on Friday for the 100th episode of Ramblemancy. But if not, we'll see you the next time you
Triple
decide.
digits.
Let me try that again in a language. We will see you the next time you decide to come roll with us. Good night and good zone, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.